Ya, first of all, terima kasih ya for
Prof sekejap, may I have a bit of pembukaan sikit, boleh Prof?
Sure. Boleh.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Saya ucapkan kepada Profesor Madya Dr. Wan Syarazad Wan Sulaiman, Timbalan Dekan Prasiswazah FSSK, merangkap wakil kepada Prof Dekan yang berbahagia Prof Dr. Hajah Hazita Azman, yang berusaha Dr. Nasir Selamat, Penolong Dekan Pengajaran dan Citra, para timbalan dekan, pengurusi-pengurusi pusat, ketua-ketua program, tetamu kita pada hari ini yang berbahagia Profesor Dr. Zoraini Wati Abas, hadirin hadirat sekalian yang saya kasihi. Alhamdulillah, bersyukur kita kepada Allah kerana pada hari ini dapat kita berkumpul sekali lagi untuk satu sesi webinar yang bertajuk Curriculum Design and Delivery Process, Implement and Evaluate. Sebagai pembuka webinar ini, saya eloklah kalau kita mulakan dengan umul kitab Al-Fatihah. Seperti yang kita ketahui, minggu lepas kita dah ada satu webinar mengenai kurikulum design juga, iaitu Planning and Develop yang telah disampaikan oleh Profesor Madya, Teknologis Dr. Aisyah dari UMP. So hari ini kita ada kesinambungan pula lah the next phase of curriculum design and that is implement and evaluate. Okey, tanpa melengahkan masa, saya ingin menjemput Profesor Madya Dr. Wan Syarazad Wan Sulaiman selaku wakil kepada Prof Dekan untuk menyampaikan sedikit kata-kata aluan. Dipersilakan Dr. Syarazad.
Terima kasih Puan Hasno Shima. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh dan selamat pagi. Pertama sekali saya ingin mengucapkan selamat datang kepada Prof Dr. Zoraini Wati Abas, Adjung Profesor dari Asia University, yang telah sudi meluangkan masa untuk berkongsilah pengalaman Prof dalam curriculum design and delivery ini ya. Jadi kami sangat berbesar hatilah kerana input dan perkongsian mengenai curriculum design and delivery ini sangat penting dalam proses dalam membantu pihak fakulti untuk membuat semakan program untuk pengetahuan Prof. Semenjak tahun 2021 unit kita bukan panggil unit kita panggil sekretariat di Fakulti Sains Sosial dan Kemanusiaan ni, Sekretariat Prasiswazah bersama dengan Sekretariat Pengajaran dan Citra dan serta Sekretariat Kualiti dan Strategi kami memang bergerak seiring dalam membantu program-program dalam proses akreditasi dan juga semakan kurikulum. So alhamdulillah tahun 2021 kita telah selesai mengadakan audit pengekalan akreditasi kalau untuk prasiswazah kita dah selesai untuk 12 program dan selepas saya rasa selepas kita dah dapat pengekalan akreditasi itu aktiviti utama yang berkait juga adalah proses semakan kurikulum lah yang sepatutnya dilakukan setiap 3 atau 5 tahun lah jadi tadi kita dah ada bersembang sedikit kan dengan Prof di FSSK ni kita ada 12 program prasiswazah dan lebih kurang 58 program siswazah dan semua untuk cycle quality tu kan kita kena comply untuk memastikan ni soal akreditasi di UKM tu terjagalah budaya kualiti tu kita terjaga. Selain daripada itu saya rasa banyak justifikasi yang boleh kita lihat juga dalam proses semakan tu untuk satunya memastikan program adalah kekal relevan dalam pasaran penawaran program pengajian sama ada peringkat prasiswazah ataupun siswazah. Justru itu kurikulum design and delivery ini sangat penting lah sebab kita kena tengok kan apa trend-trend terkini dalam PDP kan, pengajaran dan pembelajaran. Apatah lagi sekarang ni ada banyak pendekatan kalau dulu kita ada MOOC kemudian blended learning sekarang ni ada ODL jadi perkara-perkara itu menuntut ahli-ahli akademik untuk mempunyai pengetahuan lah tentang kurikulum design and delivery ini saya mungkin sedikit itu sajalah sebagai aluan saya lebih suka kalau kita fokus kepada pengisian yang akan dikongsikan oleh Prof Dr. Zoraini. Jadi itu saja. Terima kasih sekali lagi. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, terima kasih banyak Prof. Syara, Dr. Syara. So, Alhamdulillah sebenarnya kami di Sekretariat Pengajaran dan Citra cubalah untuk sedaya upaya untuk mengadakan webinar dan memberikan input lah serba sedikit tentang curriculum design dan juga delivery process because we know it's dia topik yang sangat besar sebenarnya. Kalau mengikut Dr. Aisyah last week, dia ada 10 hari training lah dekat Singapura dan baru dia berani nak bagi inilah, tapi kita dengan masa yang agak terhad, jadi kita cuba membuat yang sebaik mungkin dan hari ini kita ada seorang prof yang sebenarnya sangat hebat lah. Izinkan saya baca sedikit biodata beliau. So beliau adalah merupakan seorang pendidik lah, macam a hardcore pendidik yang telah terlibat dengan penubuhan open and distance learning sejak 16 tahun yang lalu. Beliau kini merupakan Profesor Adjung di Asia University dan antara lain merupakan juga Fellow Academy Profesor Malaysia atau APM dan penasihat kehormat Pusat Pengajaran dan Pembelajaran di Universiti Teknologi Petronas. Merupakan mantan dekan Pusat Pengajian Pendidikan Jarak Jauh di Universiti Sains Malaysia dan sebelum itu beliau merupakan Timbalan Naib Chancellor Hal Ehwal Akademik dan Teknologi Pendidikan di Universiti Terbuka Wawasan di Pulau Pinang. Beliau merupakan perintis kepada e-pembelajaran Malaysia dan menyokong pembelajaran dalam tarian. Merupakan penyumbang MOOC yang pertama Malaysia kepada kursus yang ditawarkan kepada khalayak antarabangsa iaitu pada tahun 2011. Beliau tak cukup dengan mendidik, Prof ni juga menulis lebih 800 artikel yang telah diterbitkan dalam akhbar nasional Malaysia seperti New Straits Times, The Star dan juga Utusan Malaysia. So pada sekarang ni beliau dah tidak bersama Universiti Sains Malaysia, tetapi beliau masih terus meneruskan passion beliau dan hari ini merupakan perunding dengan Bank Dunia dan terus menerima jemputan untuk memberi webinar, latihan dan juga bengkel. Beliau juga merupakan penyelia PhD di Asia University dan pemeriksa luar untuk penyelidikan pasca siswazah di universiti dalam dan luar negara. Jadi besarlah harapan dari Sekretariat Pengajaran dan Citra agar kita semua dapat menimba sedikit sebanyak ilmu daripada Prof sebab bukan senang nak dapat seorang Prof yang sangat passionate terhadap pendidikan. So tanpa melengahkan masa lagi, saya jemput dengan segala hormatnya Profesor Zoraini Wati Abas. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih. Banyak panjang cerita tu. Okay, let me see. Okay, nampak semua slide? Dah nampak tak slide?
Boleh,
Nampak Prof?
Okay, terima kasih. Okay, terima kasih Yang Bahagia Wakil Dekan Prof Madya Wan Syarazad ya tadi?
Betul Prof.
Okay, Wan Syarazad. Okay. Dan Shima sendiri ya kerana telah membawa saya bersama UKM pada pagi ini. As you said, I somehow am passionate with education. Even after retirement, I got offers, invited to apply for some of these positions that I had. And it's been a very interesting process lah ya. saya telah berkhidmat secara penuh masa di 6 buah universiti semuanya, 5 in Malaysia and 1 in Indonesia. And I think that experience, berkhidmat dengan 6 university has given me a wide perspective of some of the things in higher education. Saya juga telah perhatikan kita ada persamaan juga antara para pendidik ataupun para pensyarah di antara universiti ni, ada yang kesamaan, ada yang berlainan, and that itself has been an interesting revelation to me. Okay, sebelum saya meneruskan webinar pada pagi ini, saya nak mengucapkan selamat Hari Taipusam kepada yang telah merayakan Hari Taipusam semalam, dan Assalamualaikum dan selamat pagi kepada semua pagi ini. Dan kita teruskan dengan topik yang telah diberikan kepada saya, Curriculum Design and Delivery Process, Implementation and Evaluation. Actually, there's so much that we can talk about. And I wasn't sure kat mana yang saya harus fokus. Tapi based on what Prof Madya, Dr. Sharizat sebut tadi, dan apa yang Shima juga telah berikan kepada saya, I think 2.5 hours is not a very long time, tapi I will focus on some things, and yet I am flexible. Kalau ada apa-apa pertanyaan, kalau ada apa-apa yang nak tahu yang saya tak sebut, silakan bertanya. InsyaAllah saya boleh jawab. Kalau tak boleh jawab, I will let you know also. Tapi kalau saya boleh jawab tu, insyaAllah I will try to give you some answers that might help you. Okay, let me move my slide. Okay, actually Shima dah banyak sebut in brief what I have done. But basically, I've been an educator. Basically, I have been an educator. And everywhere I went, I always tried to tell them that our students are the most important people. Wherever we are in the university. Sebab kita, when we are hired at the by the university, our main job is to help the students, learn, to help the students get their degrees, to help the students improve their own lives, improve the lives of the family, people around them, improve the life of society, of the country. And of course, these days we talk about global, global influence. Each of us can play that role. Jadi peranan kita sebagai pendidik tu sangat murni dan sangat besar, a significant role, So that's what I've been, I think, as an educator, and that's why it's not easy for me to stop, to stop and move away from education. InsyaAllah selagi saya dapat, saya ingin menyumbang pengalaman dan kepakaran yang ada. As long as it's still relevant, to people who might ask for the advice dan sebagainya lah, Okay, saya harap semua dah bersedia dan semua open to more new ideas, and maybe not new, tapi mungkin sebelum ni tak terfikir, tapi mungkin sekarang whatever I cover today will make some sense and will be adopted, to a certain extent, for the sake of the students. Okay, just in brief, tadi Shima ada sebut, but actually I have somehow been involved in all kinds of levels of education, from preschool to primary to secondary to higher education. Higher education yang paling lama, secondary very brief, because I was MRSM scholarship holder dulu. And then primary, because I was, what do they call it? Part-time, can't remember now what they call it. But I got to serve a primary school in the US for about 8 months. And then lepas tu also preschool, because I was chairman of Universiti Malaya punya Tadikom, chairman of the management board. Jadi somehow I dabble myself juga lah in preschool curriculum and so on. And yes, I've done teaching assistantships and all that, USA, and then also in Indonesia, I was director of the Center for, teaching, learning and curriculum development. And also because they didn't have any qualified vice rector, so they asked me to step in temporarily until they got their own permanent vice rector. And of course, in Malaysia, as I said, 5 universities. And I've also served in Marala, all this, yeah, IMU, and then of course OUM and Wawasan, which gave me about maybe 11, 12 years of open and distance learning. Then lepas tu di University of Science Malaysia for the School of Distance Education. And now also again AEU, also an ODL institution. So banyak di situ. Jadi I didn't touch about ODL ya di sini because I wasn't sure what you wanted. Tapi kalau you want to know more about ODL, just ask me. You know, insyaAllah saya boleh jawab. And the learning and teaching tools that I have used from blackboards, yeah, long time ago lah ya, 1980 plus, whiteboard. Yang paling canggih masa tu OHP and slide projector, and maybe video players. And then lepas tu we went on lepas on the internet. Was it mid-90s, yeah, internet, and then lepas tu we went into web portals, LMS, social media, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that should give you the range of what I have been through, and I think that has given me an edge of appreciating some of the latest developments and technology. Okay, I want to ask you a question, yeah, everybody. If you can maybe just type very quickly in the chat box, yeah. What do you feel about the curriculum of your program today? What do you feel about your program? I mean, you are now going to revise it ataupun maybe modify a little bit, yeah, maybe 30%, maybe even more, I'm not sure. But what do you feel about your curriculum today? And if you can type very quickly, yeah, in the chat box. Boleh tak? Secepat mungkin, as brief as possible. One word pun tak apa. What do you feel about the curriculum of your program today? Okay, room for improvement, always, yeah. Room for improvement. Ada lagi? Mungkin kita tunggu. It's challenging, okay. Unit bahasa asing, challenging, okay. Practical experience. Maksudnya the student's point of view ataupun from your perspective, your own practical experience. Internship, okay. Not focus, all right. Teachers still unprepared. Okay, you're talking about online mode, still unprepared. Okay, all right. Not different from the other lecturers that I have worked with. Okay, then there's student activities, and then you have to be in line. Okay, with the top. Okay. Lecturers need to adapt. Okay. All right. Very interesting. Okay, let's maybe you can still type, but let me just go on with the slides. Yeah. I think the 21st century has been quite a challenge in general. Even businesses change. I mean, dulu we used to have air tickets, yang the thick air tickets, but now, even if you don't have your air ticket, you just show your IC for domestic flights, that will do. Things have changed. You have hotels before, but now you have Airbnb, you have, all these other things, booking.com lah, apa lagi, Agoda dan sebagainya. Things have changed. In education, how much of it has changed? Kalau Grab car, for example, you don't have to own the car. Kalau kita nak provide education, we can't say we don't have to own the university, right? We still have to have the university. But maybe there's a change in the way we deliver courses. So jadi that's why we have MOOCs, we have micro-credential courses, and then we have, HRD Corp is also going online, kan? Online platforms. Yeah? Basically, the result of COVID. yeah, COVID-19. Jadi things have changed even more quickly than what we would like it to be. Tapi things have changed a lot, and some people are even talking about credit bank system. Dah mula bercakap, yeah. So in other words, just like the MOOCs, yeah. For example, if you take MOOCs in the US, it seems that you can put together a string of MOOCs. Doesn't matter where you took it from, tetapi you will somehow get your degree, yeah. And I think Indonesia was toying with that idea, yeah. Indonesia, they have MOOCs. They want all the universities to provide MOOCs, and all the students, you know why? Because I think they have, was it 5 million students, yeah, on campus. Tapi they have more students who need education, tapi they don't have places in physical places, yeah, on campus. And this was before COVID. So they started creating MOOCs. Certain universities were called to provide MOOCs, and students, they punya vision, any student who are not on campus can take all those MOOCs and one day get a degree somehow. Yeah, I'm not so sure how far that plan has gone, but that was what they felt. I think about 3, 4, maybe 5 years ago, yeah, they started with that idea. So then the idea of credit bank. In other words, people can take courses from anywhere. So maybe the micro-credentials will enable that. Maybe MOOCs will enable that. And one day, the student can get a university degree somehow. Itu kita tak tahu siapa lagi because we have not done anything, no concept for that yet. Tapi the idea of having a credit bank, students take courses from there and then they create their own degree. Who knows, another 10 years, 20 years, that will happen. So anyway, so you mentioned about, what you felt about the curriculum of your program today. You think there's room for improvement. You think that there needs to be some changes, and then there are some challenges about putting in internships and all that. Okay, let's go on. Those are real issues. Now I always like what Skinner has to say about education. He says education is what survives when what has been learned has been forgotten. If you think about it, when we were taking courses before, yeah, in the university, how much of it do we remember? Not too much. I don't. I was a biology major. I remember some, but certainly not enough. If you ask me to teach a biology course, I have to read back my textbook, or a textbook to teach biology. But, but basically education is what survives when what has been learned has been forgotten. Jadi maksudnya apa? Mungkin it's the skills, mungkin it's the technique, mungkin it's, something that will continue throughout our lives. Yeah, the lifelong learning. What did we learn that we will not forget? Subject matter mungkin kita lupa. Subject matter mungkin if we don't use it, we don't apply it, yeah, kita akan lupa. But everything else, the experience we had, the feelings we had, itu yang akan sentiasa, yeah, ada bersama kita, and what will shape us, yeah, our activities and so on. All right, there is a very recent document from UNESCO, and source-nya ada di situ. It's called Reimagining Our Futures Together, and they are saying that reimagining our futures together is because it is a new. We have a new. There must be a new social contract for education. Okay, so this is the pandangan UNESCO. Let me go to the next slide. Dia kata why we need this new social contract is to repair injustices while transforming the future. So ada banyak gap, and the pandemic has actually revealed quite a bit. This new social contract, yeah, if you look at my cursor, must be grounded in human rights and based on principles of non-discrimination, social justice, respect for life, human dignity, and cultural diversity. Okay, I have had conversations with some of the lecturers, yeah, in Malaysia. One of the points brought up is how our students have lost the human values, the value system. Don't know whether you agree. Tapi nak bandingkan ya generasi muda dengan generasi kita, there's a big gap dari segi values, dari segi hormat menghormati. Betul tak? I mean, do you agree with me or not? Or is it just...
Yes, I do.
You do?
Yes, I do.
I was just going to say whether it's just in the universities I've been at. Tapi, yalah, the young people, maybe it's our fault too, because, they are our children's age, kan? Some of them, I mean, some of you are old enough. And what is it? What happened? Yeah. How come we can emulate our parents' behavior, ya, hormat menghormati, cakap lembut, ada adab, Tapi among the young, they feel they are the what do you call this? Generation yang apa namanya? They have the right to certain things, and they say respect must be earned. Is it because of globalization? They catch it on internet. They catch it when they watch foreign productions on TV and all that, or on the computer. What is it? Apa yang telah jadi, ya? That things have changed. So this is a new social contract lah, ya, grounded in human rights and also based on principles of nowadays also in the country people talk about religion so openly, and apa yang kita patut buat, tak patut buat, I mean, a lot of people are talking about kenapa we have become so racist, I mean, this is what is happening. Anyway, so that's about the values. Yeah, I won't go more into it, but there are some things that probably is it our curriculum that can change that. Okay. So back to the what we are supposed to cover today. I've arranged it into 3 parts. Number 1, reimagining our futures together. Lepas tu, implementing changes in teaching and learning. And I added this term, student engagement. I'll share with you what student engagement is all about later. Then lepas tu, part 3 is evaluating the implementation. And if you at any point in time want to stop me, just stop me and ask the questions that you need. Okay, this one, just very quickly, I got from the internet about UiTM punya, curriculum review. And they say that when doing a curriculum review, they look at all these things. Okay, maybe you can share with me. I couldn't find UKM punya. Maybe you can share with me. Do you do the same thing? Do you cover all the items listed here? And maybe more? Any feedback? I'm sure you're looking at this. I mean, that's natural. I mean, that's the easiest. Program standards is all there. We just have to refer to it. Professional bodies, kalau maybe psychology has a professional body that we have to comply with.
Ya, Prof. Memang kita ada rujuk juga perkara-perkara ni.
Rujuk juga kan. Okay, so that's natural. Okay, but for me, bila nak buat webinar hari ni, I thought, because based on my experience looking through slight revision of our 11 programs dekat School of Distance Education last year, I saw that constructive alignment is something yang patut kita kuasai. And I find that this is where I think if we can get this done right, doesn't matter lah kita buat because of future industrial revolution ke apa ke semua ni, once we get constructive alignment right, then I think that's the most fundamental thing to master and to make sure it happens. Because this will help us in the long run. Yeah, doesn't matter apa lagi dia punya, kita ada sulam, kita ada Excel, kita ada macam-macam lagi yang baru-baru pun mungkin akan timbul juga in the next few years. But constructive alignment, doesn't matter what trend, what focus dan sebagainya. The other thing I think is important to look at also is the future jobs. Jobs are changing. I hear we have how many percent yang tak dapat kerja hari tu among our IPTA students ataupun graduates? About how many percent kalau in the social science sector? Any feedback? Any figures? Roughly 10%? 5%? Ada? Of course, these are general degrees kan, yang political science, yang psychology, these are all general degrees. But how easy is it for them to get a job, let's say within 6 months? I mean, a real job, yeah? Not working in as a pump. I was told ada yang study engineering, lepas tu kerja dekat station minyak, pump minyak. And of course, they do something related to engineering lah, checking quality of oil ke apa benda ke. But a real job, a real job, they become a real engineer. If it's in mass comm, they are in that field, yeah, but they're not working at McDonald's, not working at Starbucks. How many percent are not employed? Do you have the figures?
Kalau untuk fakulti sains sosial, yang belum bekerja tu kita tengok laporan GE tu dalam 21%, 21.4% tak bekerja.
21.4% tak bekerja ataupun kerjanya dalam bidang yang bukan bidang yang yang they graduated from.
I think yang tu sebab kita ambil graduate SPKG, Prof, kan dia maklumat terperinci tu tak ada lah pula.
Yes.
So yeah, because ini kalau yang 21.4% are those who are who responded memang tak bekerja langsung.
Oh, tak bekerja langsung. Couldn't find job, ya, ataupun dia very okay lah tak bekerja langsung.
Belum
that's
bekerja.
Okay.
Dan ada kategori meningkatkan kemahiran, melanjutkan pengajian, that one we don't count in as
I see.
graduate employability lah.
Okay. So yang tak bekerja langsung ni agak-agaknya kenapa, ya? Why are they not employed? Or why are they not working?
Ada yang dah kahwin, Prof.
Okay. Yeah, that's why I heard lah. Sekarang ni orang kahwin muda-muda dah sekarang. Dulu muda, lepas tu tua sikit, dan lepas tu sekarang muda-muda dah kahwin. Alright. So any other reasons selain daripada sebab dah kahwin? But I also heard dah kahwin tapi they still staying with the parents, and yeah, they're not really doing anything productive. Ada juga macam tu kan?
Ada a few kat sini sebab belum bekerja untuk yang this one data untuk FSSK sajalah. Sedang mencari pekerjaan. Lepas tu ada yang kata tanggungjawab terhadap keluarga, and then ada yang responded berehat, melancong, bercuti pun ada, about 4.5%. Kerja yang ditawarkan tidak sesuai, and then ada yang nak jawab ni memilih untuk tidak bekerja.
Yeah, that's right.
And then tidak minat untuk bekerja pun ada.
Itulah dia. Semuanya dah berubah sekarang, ya. So I wonder whether if we do a curriculum change, what do we aim towards, ya? Apa yang kita patut fokus? Something maybe something in terms of values and in terms of lifelong learning skills perhaps, ya. But let's move on and see. Okay, tapi saya bagikan senarai kat sini. Masa buat curriculum review, we can look at so many different things. But I want to focus on constructive alignment and the future jobs. Yeah, that's what I mentioned earlier pun. So let's see. Is that okay? Okay. And lepas tu, if you have any other questions, bolehlah kita try to answer ataupun find a solution to that. Yeah. So the first part of the agenda is reimagining our futures together. So, it's better kan kalau kita sama-sama fikir, what is it that we have to do? So when we do a curriculum change, it's not our own idea, but maybe, we can also brainstorm with each other. We can also get feedback from each other, and, feedback from industry, feedback from, anyone out there who are the stakeholders. Yeah, kemungkinan kalau kita buat macam tu, then we minimize, the irrelevancy of content or skills or in terms of the curriculum. And if we need to change ataupun transform or rejuvenate our curriculum, what would the reasons be? I mean, what would be your reasons that you would that would make you change the way you want to change it, ataupun transform, ataupun rejuvenate the curriculum, ataupun modify yang 30% to up to 30%. Apa dia yang akan membuat kita membuat perubahan kepada kurikulum? What are the reasons? Anybody can apa ni type in the chat room. Okay, I also see a question. Can more information be provided about Sulam and IDSPA requirement? Okay, Sulam, I think it's service learning kan. There is document kan yang ada and maybe slides that you can get from the Kementerian. I am not very well versed with this sebab coming from ODL, Sulam ni tak berapa relevant. So I haven't really gone into it. IDSPA apa ya? Dr. Wan? Anyone know what IDSPA is? Who is asking? Dr. Marina? What is IDSPA? Okay. Anyway, so let's answer this question. Do we need to change or transform or rejuvenate, and then apa reasonsnya? Is it because of the value study? Is it because of future jobs? Is it because what? Just type something. Because technology, okay. All right. Current needs, curriculum review, academic program. Okay. Okay. Yeah, this is new to me also. Academic programs, competitiveness index. Okay, current trends. Ada lagi? So we need to change because of trends, because of needs, and because of technology. So technology is also one of the trends, yeah? As a result of benchmarking. All right, when you benchmark with programs outside Malaysia ataupun inside Malaysia. Because of COVID, yeah, it has changed, made us rethink lah how best to deliver programs. Okay, international, okay, when you benchmark against international universities, okay. Yeah, we need to be globally competitive. You know what, I met one student, yeah, USM graduate recently. I think he was a graduate from maybe 5 years ago. Dia kerja from home and he works for international companies which are based in their own countries, yeah. I think sekarang ni dia kerja dengan, was it a company from Finland or something? Tapi what he does is to provide graphic services. And he can work from home. And of course, he has to adjust lah dari segi timing tu. But it's interesting. I mean, people are quite, those who are willing to be flexible, they can find jobs without being physically present, yeah, with the companies or the bosses they work for. Okay, all right, so those are some of the reasons, okay? Those are very valid reasons for sure. Okay, let's go on. Okay, just want to share with you what I found from the Taylor University website. We've heard of this before, yeah? It was in the papers a few years ago, but they have a curriculum framework, and the framework is based on a flexible study framework designed to future-proof you within the Taylor's sphere with a broader set of graduate capabilities beyond academic knowledge. So Taylor's, they kata, you know, they expect students to stand out from others with well-rounded skills built through borderless learning, hybrid degrees, mix and match modules, and work-based learning supported by various initiatives. So they kata they are the 8 sorry, let me just go back again. Okay, so they have valuable capabilities for employability, and these are capabilities for employability in the 4th Industrial Revolution. So kalau kita tengok di situ, those are the things lah ya. Discipline-specific communication, personal competencies, entrepreneurialism, problem solving, critical and creative thinking skills, lifelong learning, social competencies, and global perspective. Okay. Then their initiatives, they can have the students mix and match modules by complementing their primary major with, free electives, minors, second major, extension. And then what's the last one there? Master degree, that one is something else. But, for the undergraduate, all the other things, the 4 things there. And then dia punya elements too, from classroom to boardroom. So they have InnoFest, they have BizSpot, industry immersion projects, and then they can engage with the future employers. They have a professional development week, and where they can do this. And then tailors will give opportunities to build resilience, to provide the global perspectives, cultural adaptivity, through student exchange programs. Lagi. Okay, so then about their primary major, university core, flexible studies. Okay, a range of subjects across various fields. And they proudly say this, 55% are unemployed, almost none from tailors. So they can boast of that. And then that's what they're saying here, 97% get hired within 6 months. And they command 28% higher than average salary. Okay, and then lepas tu, top 1% in the world. Kalau tailors, top 1% in the world and number 1 in Malaysia for employer reputation. All right, so that's tailors. I just want us to share. I want us to understand how some of these IPTAs are doing what they're doing. Well, they claim to be doing this, so maybe something new for us, maybe not so new. But as you know, tailors they charge what, about 12,000 per semester, yeah, they punya fees. And if you've been to Taylor's Lakeside campus, it's a beautiful campus, yeah. Fountains, lakes, the parking lot is below the lake. And they have, interestingly, on campus, Starbucks lah, some kopitiam and, all that, yeah. Memanglah mahal. Tapi if they are boasting what they say here, then I think maybe it's worth the money. Your investment is paid off. But never mind, that's just what Taylor's is doing. I mean, just to get some ideas. And these are the initiatives. Ni kita dah buat tadi kan. But anyway, these are the other elements. There's a weighted CGPA that emphasizes your most recent performance. That means the last 2 years has greater emphasis or greater weightage in calculation of the CGPA. And then yang ni tadilah sama je lagi tadi, but you can always go to the website and then lepas tu you can check. Okay, but this is nice, the self-directed learning skills. Okay, and then this is what they are telling the students that they can showcase their dedication. Potential employees can also make informed decisions when hiring them. Okay, so that's Taylor's. Okay, now if you go into the World Economic Forum, the top 10 skills for 2025, mungkin some of you have seen this, but basically, there are 4 types of skills: problem solving, self-management, working with people, and the technology use and development. So these are the top skills that they want. Are we providing our students with those skills? And if we have not provided the development of those skills or the opportunity to develop those skills, okay, these are the 4 skills that we need to think about. But do you agree or not? Now, this is from the World Economic Forum. Do we want to believe them? And then they further break down into all this analytical thinking and innovation, the active learning and learning strategies, complex problem solving, critical thinking and analysis, creativity, originality and initiative, leadership and social influence, technology use, monitoring and control, technology design and programming, resilience, stress tolerance and flexibility, reasoning, problem solving, and ideation. Okay. If you're saying this for the first time, do you think this should be considered untuk curriculum review kita? These are basically skills, yes, not subject matter. Agree? Not agree?
Yes. Yes.
Agree, yeah. I
But
think we can.
yeah, I have a problem with working with people type of skill because with COVID, they are not here in campus. So working online is not as effective as working, physical together.
Yeah, yeah.
So there are certain things that they missed out, and I'm not sure whether that's good enough.
Yeah. Yeah, kadang-kadang we need the body language, kadang-kadang we need to have a dynamic form of communication, kan? Yeah, that's true. But it's something that we can't avoid right now. And then somebody, siapa ya, Dr. Azhar, interesting, there's no language skills, yeah? There's no communication skill tadi, kan? They don't talk about language skills, but I think working with people, you do need language skills, and problem solving pun, you do need literacy skills, kan? So yeah, interesting that it's not there. You're right. It used to be, being able to make presentations, negotiation skills, kan? Maybe that's assumed under itulah dia, working with people kot. Okay. And then somebody was commenting, tuition fees for UKM is only $550 per semester, and 67% are B40. Yeah, betul, that's correct. And maybe it's the B40 situation. Yeah, kalau tailors kan, most of the parents, they have actually sacrificed somehow. They have saved the money, or they have got the money to pay that 10,000-12,000 per semester. And if they have 2 semesters, it's already what, 20-something thousand. And even Sunway, I met somebody as an insurance agent. She was saying, and she's an insurance agent while she is studying, and she was saying that the program costs 70,000. Yeah, undergraduate program costs 70,000. Oh, masing-masing paying a lot of money, yeah, for private education. And I also met another, well, she's now in marketing, but she also said the parents paid so much money for her to learn about, was it tourism ataupun hospitality, yeah, major, quite a lot of money. And she appreciates, I mean, she's not from a very rich family, tapi somehow the parents make sure that they have the money for the children. And she's doing quite well as a marketing person. She's only about 29 years old, tapi doing something interesting. Okay, so yeah, I suppose these are some of the things that we should consider. And this is just basically a close-up. Okay. Okay, somebody mentioned about technology. Yeah. In terms of teaching and learning, it used to be very simple. What you can write on the board, that's all you teach, kan? Or you put your points on the board, then you explain. Or you try to, kalau mathematics, you do things on the board, yeah? But now we have tablets, we have smartphones. Yeah, smartphones can be as good as tablets, except the screen is small. So things have changed. Even if this is a technology where, because the students are using these technologies, because everyone in society has moved on, yeah, to using smartphones, to using social media, companies have moved, yeah, to support or to provide businesses, yeah, through all these various means, yeah. You talk about digital marketing using social media. You talk about applications on the mobile phones, yeah. But there's not as much done by universities. So is that why we are losing our students' interest? Like TikTok, 1 minute. You talk about at one point, kalau YouTube videos 10 minutes tak apa, but now, and after that 4 minutes, but now it has to be less than 2 minutes. Yeah. So you realize or not, all these changes so quick, and it's all about, it's not about technology per se, but it is about the utilization or the application of technology. Yeah. for learning, yeah, for learning. I'm saying learning, yeah, because they are learning through TED Talks, through YouTube, through Vimeo perhaps, and then through the apps, yeah, and TikTok, you know. I think everybody is watching some kind of TikTok every day. So anyway, those are some of the changes, and I know we all realize that, but just to bring everybody to the same page. Now with UKM, I guess you all have seen this diagram. Yes, I found it on the UKM website. Betul tak? Everybody has seen this diagram, kerangka pembelajaran aktif UKM from pengajaran.wixsite.com. Yes? No? Yes or no? Shima, can you say
well, actually this thing kita tak, I personally have not seen this, tapi going to their webinars memang adalah disebut
okay.
pengajaran
So,
webinar memang banyak lah, so semua ni
okay.
ada dalam webinar.
So memang it's socialized lah, yeah, on campus. For me as a visitor, I can find this, and I thought, yeah, okay, it's interesting that UKM has this. They talk about learning space ataupun the learning elements. So you have the learning space, you talk about pedagogy, you talk about technology. And then the pedagogy pula ada macam-macam lah, blended learning, online learning, what is pentaksiran, assessment in learning, and then peperiksaan. Okay, pentaksiran apa? Peperiksaan is exam online, ya? Assessments online. Pentaksiran?
Pentaksiran is assessment.
Assessment, and then peperiksaan will be exam. Okay, all right. And then they talk about devices. So iPad and computers, and then peranti, apa ya? Peranti screen mirroring. And then they talk about projectors and smart TVs.
Device.
Device. Okay, all right. Okay, so it's interesting that, okay, UKM has this. Okay, that's fine. But I think, let me go through my slides and let's see if you can go a bit deeper than what you see here, yeah? Okay. This one, again, when I Google, this is the Malaysia Education, apa nama ni, the 3 Cs lah, yeah? The 3 Cs. Okay. Somehow I wanted to bring down the screen, but anyway, education 1.0, education 2.0, 3.0 and 4.0. Jadi 1.0 very easy, yeah. Whatever the teachers say or put on the board, ya itulah yang kita belajar. And then education 2.0 is when the learners are the receptacles of knowledge. Jadi we just feed them with everything and almost, you know, whatever we think they should be fed with. Dan lepas tu, most of the time, they respond ataupun they just regurgitate whatever we told them. Yeah, education 2.0. Ingat tak, you know, these are the days kan. Even when I was a lecturer, I think we were education 2.0. You know, we teach, and then we expect them to you know, tell us back what we taught them. Lepas tu education 3.0, this is when we got the problem-based learning ataupun project-based learning, inquiry-based learning, and supposed to be collaboration, and then adalah social networking there, you know, using the social media tools, and then maybe accessing global resources, yeah. So teachers are facilitators, but then at the same time, how many of us are facilitators today? Not everybody, I think, yeah. I think it's not everybody, because based on what I see, how people teach, it's still feeding information. You know, sometimes they even read from the slides. Most of them are doing that, kan? Still, unfortunately, still. Tapi padahal they should be a facilitator. That means, kan, teachers speak less, students speak more. Ataupun teachers do less in class, but the students do more in class. Maybe the preparation time for the teacher is more, because we have to really think more if we were to facilitate. Yeah, that means we have to have many things ready. Tapi in class, we do little of it. We get the students to be more active. Yeah. Okay. And now we talk about education 4.0, and among others, the web is our curriculum. The whole internet, you know, can be our resource. And those in language, I think you have it easy. Those in marketing are very nice, I think, you know. Even psychology, I'm sure, you know, if you talk about examples, yeah, to show applications, I think you can find things on the internet, whether it is reading materials or YouTube videos and so on, yeah. Then lepas tu, education 4.0, where the learner can be the content producer and sharer. Now, I've seen some of this where the students are asked to produce a presentation ke video ke apa, and then lepas tu that becomes shareable, you know, with other students, and then they could be learning from each other. And who knows, the better content we can use in our next semester to provide what you call this, they become resources. Yeah, all those videos that the students produce, for example, become resources, yeah, for our subject. So whether we can think of this now or not, yeah, learners as content producer, and then they share. Learners as connection maker. So yeah, whatever it is lah ya, yang mungkin we suggest that they contact an expert ke apa ke, then lepas tu they're like our connection makers as well. And then lepas tu open access to information, yeah, almost everything and anything lah ya. Then the lecturers as learners as teachers, yeah, because they produce the content, so they could become teachers. So kita facilitate, yeah, this role here, facilitate, but we also do more because we expect the learner to do more of the work. So they learn and they produce the content, yeah. And to me, this is a good way, because if they are able to produce the content, that means they understood the subject matter, yeah. And then hopefully they also take pride and will do the best job that they can, yeah. So we talk about itu tadi, access to experts, yeah, learners as teachers, and the educators only act as a resource guide. So tadi facilitator, now resource guide. Okay, and then the diversity of network sekali. All right, so that's one approach, yeah, to think about, yeah, moving forward. Education 4.0, UITM tadi dah talk about Education 5.0, but the minimum is this, yeah, where we become resource guides. Okay, so buzzwords of today, just some of the buzzwords which we already know: e-learning, blended or hybrid, yeah, MOOCs, micro-credentials, remote lectures, online learning, open and distance learning. You know, I'm not sure if you are into this already. Ataupun only online learning. And then how many hours are you providing in terms of the online learning? Okay, now I'm sure you are thinking of blended learning. So how many hours on campus? How many hours online? Do you have a formula for the new curriculum? Maybe Shima, maybe you can highlight. Ada?
Kalau blended learning, what we have in UKM is we do have an online apa namanya ni yang kita panggil UKM Folio. So yeah, so we do have kind of kena capai some blended punya status.
Right.
So that one I'm not sure, adalah kriteria dia lah untuk capai that blended learning punya status tu. So each and every one of us would have to achieve that basically.
Okay. Tapi there's no ratio, yeah?
Dia kenalah macam adalah a few like mesti ada interactionsnya, how many percent, macam tu lah. So how many materials you have to upload, how many quizzes you have to have, macam tu lah.
Okay, all right. So it's still almost prescriptive, yeah?
Yes, correct.
You determine what students read or what students do, yeah?
Correct.
Okay, so see, we can move a little bit forward. Yang tadi tu kita resource guide, tapi doesn't mean that we provide all the resources that they need to go through. They themselves, yeah, should be kalau boleh the self regulated learner, and they build up the skills for lifelong learning, yeah, as lifelong learners, and they become independent and pursue their own itu. Tapi how do we do that, yeah? Okay, I'm just going to give you some ideas later and see, you know, what you all feel about it. So just be patient with me, tak sampai lagi, but getting there. Okay.
Macam Prof, just a bit more lah. Macam saya mengajar bahasa Jerman kan, so there a lot of things daripada TikTok pun ada, daripada even TikTok very interesting lah kan, ada juga from of course from YouTube. Tapi the students, I'm not saying that they browse a lot, online to find materials, to find guidance, to find help lah, so to say, ya, extra materials. Tapi tak semua tu yang bagus, ada juga yang salah. So I am basically providing them so that it would macam narrow down their search lah, so to say kan. Macam tu lah, sebab kalau dia orang cari sendiri tu macam tiba-tiba jadi mengarut sebab the conjugation semua tak macam-macam jadi kan. So macam agak pening juga. So I'm just trying to like save their time also, because I know they have other subjects, dan kalau kita 100% leave it to them, macam yelah, as I say lah, nanti cacah merbah lah semua apa-apa yang dia orang cari tu. So that's the thing lah, that I provide some guidance for them. I provide, like say, okay, these are some trusted websites. I say some trusted videos that people do produce. I say, tapi ada a few tu memang you all jangan pakai lah, memang out terus. Like that lah.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, you see, that's the thing. Yeah, our students pun tak boleh nak decide which are good resources and which are not, which are relevant and which are not. So mungkin at the very beginning kita kena bagi panduan jugalah. What kind of materials, what kind of quality, what kind of context they should look for. So you could give the starting point punya video views, I mean what they have to view, and then lepas tu try and let them go, but give them guidelines as to what they should look for, and then mungkin share. And then when you ask them to share, then maybe they will be a little bit more careful. They don't want people to say, what kind of things are you sharing? Tak tahu lah tu. I don't know whether the students are very conscious these days that they take pride in what they share, ataupun they think it can be a humorous thing. Hey, I found something funny, and then everybody likes it. It depends juga lah, how our students feel and think about, finding quality resources lah, it should be quality resources yang they can each learn from, kan? So that is the final what you call this, final kind of resource lah that they should find. But anyway, I understand your challenge. I understand how difficult it can be. Tapi I think somehow we still have to try lah, because in the real world they will be expected to do the same. And they must be able to identify some good stuff, kan? Okay, let me just move on. So anyway, Tony Bates is somebody in the online learning world. He was with FSSK University. Now he's fully retired, but he's still writing books and giving his opinions every now and then. Tapi when he wrote this book, he wrote this book in 2015. But now, if you go look at this book, did I add a section on post-COVID? Yeah. So anyway, what he's saying is, because of changes in the economy and changes in technology, we have to have new approach. And some of you have said that. And then lepas tu, what he's saying also is that faculty and instructors are continually facing questions such as, how do I effectively teach an increasingly diverse student population? I think in our case, taklah diverse sangat, because mostly, as you said, come from the same background, kan? And then how do I engage and support my students as class sizes increase? And how do I use multimedia and other resources to build a high quality course, and a host of other questions. All of us have this challenge. So life is never perfect. It's just as best as how we can manage it. And based on our own set of skills, analytical skills and so on. Tapi this book, basically what I want to show is that this is a good book to refer to kalau you're starting out teaching in a digital age, and it's free. You can download the PDF books. I believe that when we ask questions, we will get the answers. Jadi, what he's asking is, what some of the questions he has listed here. How do I decide whether my courses should be campus-based, blended, or fully online? What strategies work best when teaching in a technology-rich environment? What methods of teaching are most effective for blended and online courses? Jadi, he's got all these questions and he's got the answers in the book. Jadi, if you really like to go into this, please access the book, download the book. It's free, it's a PDF version, and I think Tony Bates is one of those renowned people online as an online educator. I think you'll benefit from that. Okay, let me just share with you. I Googled I think 21st century education. And these are some of the books that I found. It's not comprehensive. Jadi just some of the books that were given to me when I searched. My question to you is, which books would you choose to read? Because that will somehow indicate your interest, your hunger for knowledge, you know.
I would
Which
go for
books?
creative classroom.
Creative classroom. This one,
Because,
huh?
yeah, being a
Okay.
teacher, being a
Yes.
teacher kan, I am not a lecturer, I'm a teacher. So it's always about, mesti hype sikit lah. I punya classes, students tak tidur, so it's always like that, So
Okay,
how
okay.
do I create an interesting class?
Okay.
And also teaching in the online classroom pun menarik juga for me lah.
Surviving and thriving in the new normal.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, good. All right. That's Shima. Anyone else? Just
Sama.
unmute your mic and just say which one.
Sama, the creative classroom.
Okay. Maybe because it's yellow. Okay, everybody's zero into that. Okay. Creative classroom is important, yeah? Okay. Anyone else? Yang lain macam boring ya.
Prof, mungkin yang tu
for
from
ideas
texting,
for 21st
from
century
texting to
education.
teaching.
Okay, it's something to do with 21st century there. Ada banyak tu, a few with the term 21st century in there. So you have this one, you have this one
Yang-
here.
Creative
Banyak ni 21st century. Sebenarnya banyak 21st century. Yeah, exactly. So many. Okay. All right.
From texting to teaching, Prof?
Again?
From texting to teaching.
From
Ada ni.
texting to teaching. Okay. The students are texting. So macam mana kita nak ajar ya? To take their attention away from this texting punya culture. And that's why they like WhatsApp, right? They don't like LMS. Betul tak?
Betul?
Everywhere I go, kalau LMS, kalau social media, WhatsApp, nak compare dengan LMS punya forums, ataupun the Q&A in the forums, number one, the evidence. You may lose the evidence. Kalau MQA datang, the MQA audit panel datang, for you to show or to inform the MQA panel that you did some teaching or you did some, what you call this, provided learning consultancy to their students through WhatsApp. You may have accidentally deleted. Tapi kalau LMS tu, at least, if the policy of the university is not to delete all these forums, it will still be there. It will be archived and can be brought out again. Macam tu lah. And then kalau WhatsApp, if the students are not in the group, refuse to be in the group maybe, ataupun they join late, some of the postings dia tak baca. Tapi kalau forum tu, they will read. But then they don't want to go into the LMS because it's not mobile friendly, kan?
Panjang perjalanan nak masuk LMS tu.
Itulah dia. They have to click, they have to put in username, password,
Yes.
click baru dia sampai.
Betul.
Tapi WhatsApp tu senang, you don't waste time. So everybody nak cepat. Lecturer pun suka WhatsApp juga sebab cepat. So tu je lah. Anyone else? Any pick of books?
Dr. Nasir said changing teaching, changing teachers. Itu menarik dia.
Yes. Changing teaching and changing teachers. Yeah. So we have to change our own teaching and we have to change the teachers. Kalau kita dari perspektif leader lah kan. Okay. What about teaching leadership? And then got ideas there. Ideas for 21st century kat bawah sekali tu. Teachers for the 21st century. So anyway, there's a demand for this kind of knowledge and a lot of people have written all these books. Yeah. And every day probably or every month there is a new book that we can read. Okay, so just an interesting show of books or sharing of books that are written on the subject. And we just have to get into some of these things. Ya, kalau tak ada buku pun tak apa. You have YouTube and you have articles. Tapi articles tu boring sikit lah ya, because they're always research based. But there are some white papers, policy papers which we can read. And also this is one example, like Education 4.0. This is actually a company, Creatrix Campus. Yeah, it's a company that will help institutions to provide 21st century learning and teaching environment. So, there are some policy papers and you can always go to something like this as well. Tapi from this same website, I got this just to share with you. What is Education 4.0? It is a purposeful approach to learning that lines up with the fourth industrial revolution and about transforming the future of education using advanced technology and automation. And what they say is creativity is the foundation of 4.0. Jadi siapa yang pilih tadi tu yang kreatif tu, good lah ya, because it's a foundation of Education 4.0. It emphasizes the need to prepare students to take on challenges head on. Okay, so then one has to revisit the traditional education paradigms with a futuristic approach. Students need to be adept with skills set by the fast-changing technology. They should be led but not instructed, and information should be made accessible but not fed to them. I think some of us are already doing this. And then lepas tu, both general and vocational education should aim at making students skill-ready to compete with the outside labor force. Jadi kalau kita focus on the skill-ready, of course you need your subject matter expertise, tetapi what they're saying is we don't get them to cough out the exact content. I mean, we don't ask questions that will make them regurgitate, the answers coming from textbooks or from our slides. We have to do more than that. And I'll talk to you more about this in authentic assessments later, yeah, in my slides. Okay, so anyway, dikata dekat sini in this by this company, the effect of Industry Revolution 4.0 has had on education can never be ignored. So there's cultivating peer-to-peer learning atmosphere. Itu yang tadi itu they're what you call it, they're creating content and sharing. Okay, so they are learning, yeah, collaboratively and from each other. And the role of teachers is that of facilitators. Tapi kalau kita tengok tadi itu, it is also as a resource guide, yeah. And the curriculum and learning outcomes focus on complex 21st century skills, and ini yang tadi tu yang ada overlap lah ya dengan World Economic Forum punya skills ya for future jobs. So itulah, these are some inputs in terms of what is it that we have to think about, how we change and all that. Again from the Creatix website. So inilah dia Education 4.0, personalized remote learning, using a variety of tools, data at the fingertips, easy and accurate assessment, project-based learning. Okay, next. Okay, kalau dulu lectures, rote learning and memorization. Okay, when I started as a lecturer macam ni lah. Kita lecture, students tulis note, and we don't even give handouts kan masa tu. We don't use slides kan. So kita lecture, the students will copy down. And that's the style I took too masa dekat when I was an undergrad. When the teacher lectures, kita sibuk menulis dalam buku nota. Dan lepas tu internet enable education 2.0. Lepas tu knowledge based education. And then now we should be innovation based education. Okay. Next. All right. Shima, you suggested 11:30. So we can go on. It's just that I finished part 1 here. Kalau nak pause for 2-3 minutes for toilet break boleh. Otherwise we can go on. Macam mana?
Yang lain macam mana? Saya okay
to go on.
Okay to go on, tapi takut pula kalau ada orang lain nak just a few minutes break, nak meregang-regang badan ke.
Yalah, just 2-3 minutes sajalah.
Yeah.
So we can have that break at 11:30 kan.
Yeah. Just have 2-3 minutes.
That was part 1 before I start part 2 je lah.
Alright, okay.
Alright, we take a 3-minute break?
3 minutes break, okay, sure.
Alright, okay. So far okay or not? I mean, I hope I'm not going too slowly. I hope information is still relevant?
I think it is very, very relevant, Prof. I think it's very,
Okay.
very interesting. The starting point tu sangat bagus lah. Macam I was talking to a friend juga tadi. Dia kata we both agreed that you started with how the kita sebenarnya macam kena berkhidmat pada student lah. So student is our priority kan. So actually semua curriculum review should have that as a focal point lah sebenarnya
Yes,
kan
that's right.
apa-apa pun sebenarnya. So the starting was already very interesting. So macam okay nak dengar lagi lah. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the feedback. Okay, yeah. I think itulah dia. Kadang-kadang when I chat with some of my colleagues kan, mana-mana lecturers tu, they're always talking about doing things like related to research and publication kan, grants, writing and then publishing. But yeah, that's part of our work. But I think why we were hired is to teach and to help the country lah, in a way, nation building lah.
True.
Yeah, it's interesting chat postings. Yang tadi I think Shima you were talking about materials yang diorang cari tu. So students mungkin fikir anything published online is
valid,
authoritative enough.
yes. Betul.
Itulah dia. Itulah the analytical skills tu. And
Dia
then something
tak
about
pandai nak
plagiarism.
segregate lagi.
Dia tak pandai. So maybe that's where we have to guide, and we only have to guide them 1 or 2 times, and then lepas tu they're okay kan.
Betul.
Same thing with plagiarism. They don't think what they're doing is plagiarism. And they expect not to be penalized for it. So itu pun another issue, a major issue, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll come back in about 2 minutes, perhaps, yeah?
Okay, Prof.
Okay.
Okay, Prof, shall we resume? You are muted, Prof.
Alright.
Okay.
Sorry. Macam ni kadang-kadang we apa ni kita lupa. Okay, so that was a pause after our ni round 1 ataupun the first part of the agenda. You can hear me okay, ya?
A bit slow daripada tadi, tapi bolehlah saya kuatkan I punya ni.
Okay. So yeah, because I'm now without the headphones.
Alright, that's why.
Should be okay, ya?
Okay.
Okay. So now tadi we talked about reimagination, yeah, reimagining our future together. So when we reimagine, so it was based on the future, the skills that we need, that the students need for the future. And then of course when we want to impart those skills, our own skills pun kena tukar juga kan. We have to upgrade our own set of skills. And then lepas tu maybe even to the fact to the stage of apa nama ni, unlearning, and relearning kan. And then we also talked about some of the things we need to consider, because of technology changes, the trends and so on. We need to think about education 4.0, and UITM has gone into education 5.0. Not sure exactly what it is. Tapi UKM, what do you all talk about? UKM education 4.0 ataupun dah masuk ke education 5.0? So anyway, those are the things that should influence lah, the way we change our curriculum, bearing in mind all these changes that are taking place. And when we plan for our curriculum, it's not planning it for today, it's planning it for tomorrow, because when we change, if the students are in our systems for 4 years, for example, then in another 5 years time, they should be easily employable. And employability yang seperti kita tengok tadi is based on skills rather than subject matter content. Subject matter, yes, the foundation semua tu dia perlu ada lah, but what employers look for seems to be beyond that. Okay. All right, let's go to part 2, implementation. Okay, I have some ideas. I mentioned earlier that I will focus on the constructive alignment, and so this is what we need to look at. And before talking about constructive alignment, I have a macro view. When we rejuvenate, I call it rejuvenate lah, because we're not really changing it. Most of you are doing it at a 30% makeover kan? Up to 30%, betul? Ataupun you going beyond that?
Minimum 30%.
Or minimum 30. So you could be making.
Kalau less than 30 tak perlu naik atas, Prof.
Yeah, betul. You don't have to go to the ministry kan? You mean tak perlu naik atas, you mean to Senate and all? Tak perlu ke
Senate mesti sampai ke KPT lah.
It's only the ministry kan? Okay. But you are expected to do more than 30%, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, so that's quite major. So irrespective of the degree of change in the curriculum, there are some success factors. So success factors ni I bagikan kepada 3. Readiness at the institutional level, readiness among educators, and having this future ready curriculum and student engagement. Readiness at the institutional level, kita ada infrastructure yang mesti ada, and I'm sure most universities have gone through this. Are able to support this, and mungkin nak tambah-tambah hotspot for students and so on. Infrastructure will be the platforms that we need for the students to get into, ataupun for the lecturers to get into, including macam sekarang ni, if we want to measure to what extent our learning outcomes have been achieved, ada juga sistem yang dah ada sekarang kan. Usually engineering dengan medical yang ahead lah. In the universities that I know. UKM, I'm not sure whether you yourself have got access to that system already, ataupun belum, but I'm sure one day it will come. But basically VLE ke LMS tu mesti dah ada, and then related software yang students perlu guna, SPSS ke, and whatever else lah yang statistics ni. And then lepas tu yang online content punya repository, ya, most of the time is in the LMS, but in case you have something else, it has to be there. Lepas tu info culture pula, this is the most important thing. Policies must be there so that everyone is taken through onboarding program ataupun professional development program, and people tu maksudnya academic staff as well as non-academic staff, everyone should be in the role of an enabler to enable the delivery of the curriculum for our students, yeah. Kalau tak jadi semua ni, none of this, I mean, let's say any of these three are missing, or any of the components of each of the three are missing, then the readiness level is not 100%. Then that has to be improved. Okay, then next at the individual level pula, readiness among educators, and I focus on educators. Non-educators, admin staff pun kena lah, but let me just focus on educators. So mindset change, and I will introduce you OMA, which is a framework, yeah, for mindset change. And then lepas tu ask, of course we know what ask is, attitude, skills and knowledge. We need that, yeah, the attitude, the right attitude, the set of skills and knowledge necessary to design, develop, implement and evaluate courses. And I give what you call this, a purpose there. So we develop purposeful content, purposeful activities, semua tu, but what for? To me, we need to get to the level of student engagement. Jadi when the students are engaged, and then barulah we have done the right thing. We have done the proper job, yeah. And of course, what we put into the curriculum, yeah, is what they will get lah. So again, that one was guided by, you know, like part 1, yeah, apa bendanya yang kita masuk dalam curriculum. Okay, that is not only content, but it should also be the attitude, the skills, and yang tadi content to knowledge. Okay, all right. So next, the third element is future ready curriculum and student engagement. So we talked about input study on how to make our curriculum future ready, and ministry also talks about future ready. Then lepas tu, what the ministry tak masuk, I think the document masing-masing on all of those aspects, I think student engagement. But you know, in ODL, student engagement is very important. And I think now what I like to do is consider student engagement for on-campus students juga, because although not so key, because kalau di ODL, student engagement ni, kalau kita tak capai student engagement, the students will drop out and the students will not finish their studies. And of course, dropout rate is quite high in ODL institutions. Minimum is 30%, 35%. Tapi kalau traditional campuses, nak tak nak, they will still graduate. Somehow they will still make it, yeah. So maybe 5%, mungkin tak sampai pun 5% yang drop. You know, maybe 95% will graduate. So student engagement is not an issue dari segi dropout rate. But if we are able to engage the students, or it's different actually. Engaging the students dengan student engagement lain, ya. If we are able to achieve student engagement, we would have done justice to ourselves and also to the students, because we got them to be fully interested in what we are teaching them. And I want to talk about constructive alignment, because these two are, to me, highly correlated with each other. Ya, kalau kita constructive alignment itu tercapai, kita akan capai student engagement. Alright. So constructive alignment, as everybody knows, there are 3 components: the learning outcome based on our curriculum for the course ataupun for the program first, lepas tu course level, and then after course level pula kita pecah-pecahkan kan topik ke lecture ke, so everyone has a learning outcome or contributes, yeah, to learning outcomes. And the learning outcomes contributed by learning activities, so it could be blended, it could be online, it could be remote, it could be physical, only physical, or it could be that blended lah, physical plus online. Yeah, so those are the learning activities, what they have to read, what they have to do, and everything else. Yeah, and then lepas tu we have alternative assessments. I say alternative assessments because even the ministry sekarang, they are saying final exam or final assessment need not be final exams. It can be anything else. So I want to talk about alternative assessments, not only for the final assessment, but also for the formative, part of the formative evaluation. Yeah. So this is the big picture. What I will cover will be OMA, and then lepas tu the implementation and evaluation, and then the constructive alignment. Okay, is that all right? Okay, I assume it's all right. Okay. All right, digitally, our lives mungkin have been largely transformed. I mean, many of us are flying, so we book online, I think, unless you have somebody else booking for you. But mostly we do it online. We use Grab car sometimes, and we do it online. We order food, whether it's Grab food ke, Food Panda ke, apa lagi, it's online. It's somehow easy to adapt for those things. Just like this senior gentleman, dia pakai iPad, no problem. However, okay, I have this framework for success. Kalau kita in education, as an education, 4 elements. The chances of moving forward, whether it is to revise the curriculum in the right way, in the appropriate way, or the right way of teaching, appropriate way of teaching, the kind of learning activities we design, semua tu. If we don't have this OMAR framework, I think we may not succeed as well. So let me just talk about it. So openness is being open to new ideas, new things, new information, the trends that we learn about. I think that the other thing is itulah dia, we need to be open to looking for things, understanding new things, new trends, what they say about the future. Because sekarang a lot of people can sort of quote unquote predict, and then lepas tu based on so many things, so many statistics, technology driven, then the globalization punya concept, approach, semua tu. And then because if we can be open, that means our mindset is right. We have the right mindset to be able to receive all these new things, to be able to do new things, to be able to respond appropriately, and then being adaptive. We can adapt. We can adapt to the real world. We can adapt to what will happen in the world. So like everybody had to adapt to COVID-19, for example, that sort of thing. Kita tak deny COVID-19, kita respond appropriately. We stay locked in. We do what we needed to do. Dari segi SOP, dari segi accepting what was the norm or the expected norm at that time, in that crisis. Then the readiness will be there. So basically, if we don't have this openness, we don't have the right mindset, we cannot be adaptive, and we cannot be ready for anything innovative or anything new. So that's my take here. We have to, number one, among ourselves, our own self, inner self, Omar. Okay. All right, we talked about lecturers as facilitators of learning, but we also heard just now that lectures should be resource, guidance to resources, guide as a guide to resources. So and this has actually taken too long to evolve. Many people are still lecturers, even in ODI institutions. I can see that some people cannot move away from becoming a lecturer. We are called lecturers. Eventually professors, kalau kita dah naik pangkat semua tu, tapi everybody still think that they are lecturers. And the first time I heard about facilitator ni lama dah, I think 1975 to be specific, because when Mara wanted to send me to on a scholarship, given me a scholarship to go to the US and then to come back as an American teacher, they said, when you come back, you will become a facilitator, not a teacher. And, you know, I was given, I mean, we were given this pep talks, like, you know, 1975. But it wasn't until lately that I started seeing people becoming facilitators of learning. And itu pun voluntarily, not everybody, maybe 25%, but the rest became lecturers. So what I say to the student must be able to say back, that kind of expectation. And students won't expect the same thing. They expect to be spoon-fed. They could say, why didn't you just tell me what questions are going to come out for the exam? So why don't you just tell us which ones, which chapters to read, you know, in the textbook, or, you know, something like that, lah. Or which one to study for, you know, which topics are important. They just want to be, apa namanya, the expectation of being rigid, yeah, they don't mind. Tapi in this world, the rigidity tu yang will apa namanya, not contribute to our success. We need to be able to be agile, to be fluid, to be apa namanya, to be flexible, you know, to be able to change, to be able to adapt to new ideas and so on. Jadi kalau kita boleh start becoming facilitator and then lepas tu as a guide to the resources, then I think we'll do a lot of things, yeah, for our students. How many of you agree with that? Can anybody, can do, does everybody agree ataupun only some of you can agree with it? Any feedback?
I personally think macam lecturers being a facilitator kan, Prof, kan?
Yeah.
Is it? Kalau ajar bahasa Jerman ni, kalau I mengajar bahasa Jerman kan, sometimes you have to put two hats lah. Kadang-kadang boleh jadi facilitator, kadang-kadang memang kena ajar macam ajar sekolah rendah lah. Macam tu, because they have zero knowledge on it kan. So and they always think that they are adults, padahal bila kita mengajar bahasa Jerman ni, dia orang ni macam budak tadika because they don't know kan. So I always think, and they always like apa macam nak translate daripada the ability for English in English, dia translate ke Jerman, which is definitely English diorang macam mungkin setinggi gunung, diorang punya Jerman tu 6 feet underground, macam tu. So at that time I cannot be a facilitator lah. At that time memang kena jadi macam macam I say typical cikgu biasa lah, kan. Tapi bila a bit more advanced, then I can change my hat, macam tu lah.
Okay, you're right, Shima, I agree with you. Kalau foundation knowledge, macam even mathematics, statistics, semua tu kan, yeah, we have to teach, really teach. Sampailah dia dapat the foundation, and then we can hopefully become the facilitator so that we can point them to the right resources, ataupun go on a certain path, or go, apa nama ni, itulah dia, apa nama ni, do what they think they should do, and we encourage them, we become motivators pula lah, you know, part of the facilitation aspect. All right, but thanks for your feedback. Yeah, betul, I agree with you. There are times when we do have to play the role of lecturer, that means teacher, yeah, to teach them specifically what they need to learn. All right, on the whole, if we can design the learning experience as something that the students can enjoy, can remember and appreciate, it's an experience that they need to enjoy or remember or appreciate. I'm not talking about content, yeah? It's the experience. So experience comprises content, comprises what they have to do with content, comprises what, you know, it could be part of feedback, assessment, you know, and so on and so on. So that's the learning experience that is meant here. So if we can design so that the experience is enjoyable, memorable, and so on, I think we've done a good job. So let's see how we can do that, yeah? I mean, each of us is creative, and that's why you need a creative book. Yeah, each of us can be creative ataupun learn to be more creative. Yeah, to be able to provide and a more enjoyable learning experience. The other thing is this, macam Shima you said tadi kan, you need to produce a learning. So if you facilitate, you may not be able to produce a learning yet because this is a very, apa nama ni, as you say lah, tadika punya level, yeah, the German, if they're just learning for the first time, they don't even know a single word of German. Of course, you have to do what you have to do to produce a learning. Producing the learning means based on your learning outcome lah. To be able to speak German at the elementary level or what context, not sure what your learning outcomes are, but we need to produce that learning based on the learning outcome. And the learning outcomes are measurable through evidence-based performance, and we demand that, we design that. And this is basically outcome-based education that the ministry talks about, OBE, dah lama dah they talk about this, I think more than 10 years, maybe even 15 years, 20 years, outcome-based education. But it's not until lately that I see that kalau NQA panel datang visit, they actually check for these three elements, and the constructive alignment too, as you see at the bottom of the screen, in terms of learning outcomes, apa dia learning outcome kita? And then based on the learning outcome, what were the activities that we did? And of course, in this context now, for a future-ready curriculum. And then lepas tu, how did we get that evidence? That means what I'm going to say now next is having authentic tasks or alternative assessment. In addition to maybe you want to give quizzes just for you to know how much they have learned or how much they have understood. But to me, the real thing, if we can get ourselves to this level, designing authentic tasks ataupun providing alternative assessment. Dia kadang-kadang interchangeable, authentic tasks, alternative assessment. Those can be the assignments, and it's not exams. It's not exams. So as a ministry kata, final assessment need not be final exams. And to me, it could be authentic tasks. Authentic tasks could include project-based learning, could include problem-based learning, could include e-portfolios, could include a performance or producing a product. And we will go on in detail next. Okay. This is my personal take. I am trained to be an instructional technologist, which includes instructional design or learning design. And usually instructional technologists ni, just because of the word technology ataupun educational technology. Technology to us should be first, but to me, no, my personal take is pedagogy comes first and then technology next. So we don't just pick a technology and expect it to work. No, we think about the pedagogy first. What is it that we want to do? And then choose which technology will do it. It could be the social media, it could be, well, anything. It could be something that you use on the smartphone, or maybe it's just WhatsApp even, depends, just so many things. It could be crossword puzzles, it could be quiz makers, this sort of thing, So that's the basis for learning and teaching to me, pedagogy first, technology second. So if we take the technology first, it may not deliver our content, our curriculum, our skill that we want the students to develop, or the attitude that we want students to develop. Don't choose technology first, choose pedagogy first, then pick the technology. Okay, it's just a method. Okay, so then we have appropriate learning and teaching approaches. What do we do in terms of learning and teaching approaches? Ada banyak. And I've mentioned this now, academic-based learning, project-based learning, and then of course in general, technology-based learning when you use some kind of technology. It could also be fluid learning. That means we get the students to learn first and then they come to class, then we ask them questions based on what they're supposed to have understood or based on what they're supposed to have learned. And we want to try and incorporate ataupun impart the skill of self-learning ataupun self-regulated learning. If we can do that with our students, I think we've gone very, very far. Maybe not in the first year, year one, because year one transition from school to university, they have to adjust. They cannot change or transform themselves so quickly. So maybe slowly, kita teach them that lifelong learning skills, which is basically the self-learning. Being, it could be self-paced, it could be self-regulated, but they take ownership of that learning process. So we want them to be motivated to take ownership of their own learning, of their own take ownership of their own success. They cannot say, oh, my teacher didn't teach me, or my lecturer didn't teach me. My lecturer did not teach me well, you know. No, we don't want them to say that. Yeah, we want them to say, okay, never mind. This is the learning outcome, and materials have been provided, activities have been provided, and assessment ni macam-macam ni. So they have to take ownership and make sure that they do the best that they can. And with the lecturer coming in to facilitate them, to motivate them, you know, to be the coach rather than be the deliverer of information. Okay, adopt or adapt new learning modes and technology. So we have to be adaptive lah, yeah. There are new learning modes sometimes, yeah, because new technology, you know, last time from the blackboard to OHP to slide projectors, and then to apa benda tu, LCDs, yeah, and then today it could be remote learning, yeah, like Zoom right now. So we have to be able to adopt or adapt, you know, basically to be flexible and to be able to learn. Yeah? If we had that OMAR framework within us, if we have already gone through that, no problem with anything, really. And what we need to do is to integrate all these elements, yeah, the learning modes, the technologies, to produce the learning as efficiently and interestingly, and of course, effective. Okay, now I come to the term student engagement. Okay, student engagement, when we plan a new curriculum or develop or redevelop a curriculum or implement, yeah, the curriculum and evaluate it, let's do it within the context of student engagement. And this is really through teaching, through and best practices, yeah, student engagement. There are millions of articles. If you were to go on the internet and search, there are hundreds of thousands of published research-based articles on student engagement, and there are so many mentions of it, and some universities have actually taken this as a focus. And there's one university, Southern New Hampshire University, who were full-time on campus before. Now they've gone online, and they have successfully enrolled thousands more students than they did before, and they're doing very well. And their focus was on student engagement. So you can read about it. Yes, Southern New Hampshire University. All right. So as I mentioned, this was 921 million results, and this was like maybe 3 months ago. 3 months ago on student engagement. So if you look at the bottom 3 lines, student engagement refers to the degree of attention, curiosity, interest, optimism, and passion that students show when they are learning or being taught, which extends to the level of motivation that they have to learn and progress in their education. So that's what student engagement is all about. And if we can measure student engagement through, let's say, learning analytics, then I think we are able to measure it quite well. And there are many books written on student engagement. So these are just 2 books that you see here. Techniques, and then the other one is what unleashing the desire to learn, yeah, something like that. And some of the research articles, if you type student engagement research, again 3.3 million, that's quite a lot. And even we ourselves can write articles related to student engagement. You know, you can challenge yourself that, and this is part of the SOTL, ataupun active research. And you can get into student engagement, yeah, but by your own cost. You don't even have to get grant money to be able to do this research. You just do it with your own students. Okay. All right. Now this is one model. There are a few models, but let me just share with you this model because I think this is the most straightforward. You can see that this model has 4 elements to it. 2 elements on observable engagement, 2 elements that are internal, which is non-observable, okay, not directly observable. So kita ada academic and behavioral, kita ada cognitive and affective. Academic is them, when we give them homework, they do it on time. When we give them assignments, they submit it on time. When we do activities in class ataupun online, they are actually engaged. And then behavioral is in terms of whether they attend the class, whether they reach the level of having to be suspended or having to be dispelled, ataupun they are participating in activities and they're on time. Okay, cognitive is basically this is related to the mind. So what they perceive as what you call is a perceived relevance of schoolwork. So if they think it's good, whatever schoolwork they get, they will do. That means they're cognitively engaged. They have their own personal goals. They are autonomous learners. They value the learning that they are going through, and they value the success. So that's cognitive engagement. Effective. They have a sense of belonging. They identify with the school, and they're connected with us, with our staff, with the university, with anything that's going on. Effective is affinity layer, feeling good, being connected with some of these elements. Okay, so that's student engagement. Okay, there's a model here I want to introduce. A lot of us, sometimes we tell ourselves, okay, how do I motivate students? We think it's just through telling them. Maybe we sort of increase the level of motivation in whatever way we think it should. But, there is a model, and I want to propose this model for you to consider. Of course, this does not influence your curriculum design, but it is more of the implementation, of how to get some of our activities ataupun our learning materials exciting to the students. So ARCS model by Keller, actually it was his PhD dissertation, and until today he is known for ARCS model. He has his own website. He's a consultant to various universities around the world, and only through this simple ARCS model. Okay, let's learn what it is all about. Okay, this is John Keller. One of his latest books, Motivational Design for Learning and Performance, the ARCS Model Approach. So kalau nak beli, it's available on Amazon, for example. This is a model, and you can go into this website lah. Kalau tak nak beli buku pun, no problem. Just go to the website. So student motivation, are the 4 things that we can do to motivate the students. It's attention, relevance, confidence, satisfaction. What are each of these? Okay. Attention is, when we try to attract the learner's attention to the topic or to the course. But of course, in the first day of class, what we tell them will determine how much attention they will pay to us ataupun to the course. Ataupun at the start of every new topic, maybe we could give them some statistics, or we give them a cartoon that's relevant to the content. And it's an interesting cartoon that they can relate to. Ataupun we give them even quotation, or we tell them a story, and it could be our own story about what they're going to learn. I mean, maybe a case study ke apa ke, ataupun an event. Ataupun we give them a newspaper cutting for them to read. Ataupun we give them headlines of newspaper articles on the topic that we're going to teach. Shima, maybe you're teaching German. Okay, how would you attract them? Are they taking German because they're interested, ataupun are they taking German because they rather take German than to take French?
Okay, actually I have 2 types of students lah. One from FSSK, whereby they are kind of they have to take a 3rd language, so they can choose between German. Dia tak kena paksa lah, but they have to take a 3rd language. Right?
It could be German, it could be Mandarin, it could be French,
Spanish. Yes, we have like 8 or 9 languages that they can choose from. Okay. Now, I think most of them kalau outside of FSSK, I get students a lot of students from engineering. And also engineering, because we do have a twinning program with a university in Germany. So they want to go there, so that's why they want to have a basic German lah.
So they're self-motivated lah.
Yeah, they're self-motivated. Kalau macam yang FSSK ni, most of them they Germany macam not very popular. Not very popular. Tak macam Korea. Korea is very hype nowadays kan.
Because of the K-pop culture.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, tapi kalau Germany macam kalau kita buat secara short study je kan, macam dalam kelas, okay, who would know how to say bye bye in Japanese? Semua orang akan tahu sayonara. Tapi kalau kita tanya who knows how to say bye bye in German, nobody would know, tahu Prof. So I said kalau ramai orang ambil bahasa Jepun atau bahasa lain, tak ramai yang ambil bahasa Jerman, kita kena jadi yang lain daripada yang lain. Things like that lah kan.
So what do you do to motivate them?
Actually, kalau selalu starting kelas tu, I akan bagi macam the percentage of people speaking German. Actually sangat ramai dalam dunia ni. Actually German is the second most spoken language in Europe. Kan, so sebab Germany besar, even Austrian they speak German juga kan, so and then Switzerland, a part of Switzerland pun speak German as their national language. So dalam bahasa Jerman ni dah ada about 3 negara yang jadikan dia so to say national language. And then I letak juga macam kalau macam job macam mana nak dapat, itu pun ada jugalah the importance of third language, because I do have some students before yang dapat kerja dengan Allianz Insurance just because dia boleh cakap Jerman, macam self introduction je sebenarnya. Tapi the interviewer was so impressed with her, boleh cakap Jerman walaupun sedikit, so macam that kind of motivation jugalah. And usually macam I'm quite a fun person to begin with. So my class will always be macam a bit gila-gila lah. So selalunya student okay lah. Those things lah usually. And I don't take attendance sangat. I don't take attendance, but my classes are always full.
Yeah, exactly. So you achieve student engagement. Did you know that?
Yeah, you tak paksa dia datang, tapi because dia nak datang, and I never penalize my students kalau dia tak datang. I macam tak ada judgement apa-apa pun. You datang okay, you tak datang pun I'm okay. So macam tak tahulah, tapi dia datang je selalu je, like that lah.
Yeah, I think they came because they're so attracted to your subject and the way you teach and
maybe so
your activities are fun, it's doable. Okay lah. So now if you look at the ARCS model, kan? So number 1 is attention. So you've done that, kan, by giving them very relevant information, like how many percent of the world or how many percent of Europe speak German, and then the value semua tu, dan lepas tu relevant. So this one we have to demonstrate relevance. So you have also done that, kan, like getting a job, example of the case study too. I'm just repeating what you say. I'm sure you've done more than that, but I'm just giving you back the examples in relation to these arcs. Now, lepas tu the confidence. So confidence, you must have done something lah, because otherwise they won't keep coming. If they feel lost, they will say, "Oh, why go? If I go, pun I get lost, so might as well not go." Okay? So they've got the confidence. I would bet, the confidence that they needed for them to proceed, through the German course. And then lepas tu satisfaction. Satisfaction is about, when we do something with them, especially kalau kita bagi feedback ke, kita bagi them opportunity to master ataupun to understand ke, the skill ke, to be able to demonstrate back the skill, then they get satisfied. So when they get satisfied, and they get confidence, they get confidence because, okay, the feedback is like this, so now I know that I'm all right. And then lepas tu, with the other two, the A and the R, and then the C and the S, that's it. You've done it. And the students will be able to be motivated without you having to tell them, hey, you must come. You have to punish them. You don't have to punish them. They come. So that's So you've got that ARCS already in there. But for some of us, sometimes we don't realize that some of these things are important. So if we can build it into our course, yeah, the ARCNS, if we can build it, then I think our course will be so much better. Shima, what do you think? I mean, you know, based on my explanation of the ARCS, does it make sense?
It does. Cuma nak create student satisfaction tu, Prof, macam kalau saya bahasa Jerman ni agak susah because I think the students will be very satisfied if they are able to converse. Kan? Tapi kalau dekat Malaysia ni the environment tu tak ada. Tak ada. Cuma they will just learn German masa dalam kelas and they will interact with me kan in German. Tapi outside of classroom, yelah, first they don't find the need to. So kadang-kadang dia macam Afra, saya lepas habis belajar je macam dah lupa dah semua. Macam tu lah. Tapi there are a few students yang mencari pen pal in Germany. They engage. So saya rasa there are two types of students yang sebenarnya at the end of the day yang sangat-sangat berminat. So when they are very interested, they would try to communicate with other people outside of the classroom because there are a lot of ways nowadays kan. Yes. Ada yang siap masuk portal cari jodoh pun ada, Prof. Macam menarik lah. Just I kata tak apa. I mean, just to get to know people kan. Like that lah. So nice lah.
Okay, good. I think I should attend your class. Okay, good. You know, you just reminded me of one young student I met, you know, primary school lah. Masa tu I tengah buat research dekat Kelantan. So this student, dia kata dia ada Facebook account. I think she was only about maybe 9 or 10 years old. So dia ada Facebook account. I said, kenapa you masuk Facebook? What do you do with it? So what do you do with it? Dia kata, because she wants to improve her English. So she connects with English native speakers. And that's how she improves her English. I mean, you know, it's smart now on her part, you know, dan di Kelantan. Pula tu not in Kota Baru, you know, it's outside Kota Baru. So there are some people who think like that. And yes, if we learn because of something, then I think that will, we get mileage lah, you know, we go further with that. All right, so okay, and I wonder if everybody else can also relate to how ARCS could work for you. Any other feedback from anyone else? I think I see 37 participants. So kalau ada siapa-siapa lagi you want to share your opinion ke apa-apa ke, please. Anyone? Tak ada, I just go on lah. I hope people are engaged.
Okay. Ada sesiapa yang nak just sharing experience saja kan, Prof kan?
How do you know the students are satisfied? Okay. How do you, Shima, can you answer that? How do you know the students are satisfied?
Kalau saya tak boleh, kita tak boleh bergantung kepada, kan kita ada SPP yang last kali at the end of the semester yang student kena rate kita kan. Sebenarnya yang tu tak boleh pakai lah. Sebab kan macam itu kadang-kadang student takut je nak bagi bad rating macam tu kan. So saya pun saya tak pernah tengok that thing lah actually. Tapi saya selalu tengok engagement student lah, because students kata lah kalau let's say student tu cannot make it to class, because I have student especially online yang memang tak pernah datang kelas because of dia punya connection. Memang tak pernah datang kelas, but they will always come back to me dengan WhatsApp. Kalau diorang dengar video, diorang pergi, they had to go, ada seorang ni from Kelantan, he had to go to the Kota Baru untuk pergi cyber cafe, download all dia punya lecture videos, and then dia akan balik rumah dengar. And then kalau dia tak faham, dia akan start engage dengan saya lah, dia akan tanya pakai WhatsApp, and alhamdulillah I'm quite good at explaining using WhatsApp. So macam especially the grammar thing and so on. So with that saya rasa macam my students tu satisfied lah dengan I would say my service to them lah, Prof kan. Kita serve them, we serve them as much as we can actually kan. So So I think itulah cara I nak tengok sama ada student I satisfied ke tak dengan I, not through the rating lah. Rating tu tipu je I rasa.
Yeah. The other thing is this. You know, caring is sharing. Yeah. Yes, caring is sharing. No, if they realize, if they know that we care, they will also be engaged with us, right? Okay, I see. Siapa? Zati raising the hand. Yeah.
Yeah. That's Prof. I would like to share my experience as well.
Yeah.
With regard to what Puan Shima said just now, kan? Students actually, if they are satisfied with lesson ke apa, they will normally personal message you and share with you their experience with regard to the topic. I teach linguistics.
I see, okay.
So yeah, because in class I normally ask them to reflect on what their experience throughout their course of acquiring language, you know, process of learning language. So yeah, I feel that there is some satisfaction if they get to. I mean, I don't have to ask them to do that, but they do that sometimes, you know. So I think that's one thing that makes me happy.
Yeah. The other thing is also at the end of the class, they say thank you.
Betul?
Kan?
Yeah.
Say thank you ataupun they want to interact with you, or you know, thank you teacher ataupun thank you Puan Shima ataupun you know, then you know lah, you know, they're quite satisfied. To what degree kita tak tahu, tapi at least some kind of satisfaction. And they keep coming back lah, you know, if they're satisfied, they keep coming back to the class, right? As you say, you don't take attendance, you don't penalize them. Well, don't penalize tu tak apa lah, tapi they don't have to come kan if you don't penalize. And then attendance is not necessary, kan? But they still come.
Tapi sebelum start kelas tu at the very beginning of the semester akan cakap lah juga Prof, if you want me to treat you as an adult, so be an adult lah. Itu kena cakap juga lah kan. Pesanan-pesanan penaja.
They still may not care about that, you know. If
Yeah,
they're not
betul.
satisfied,
Betul.
dia budak-budak sekarang lain lah. Okay. Alright, go. Okay, we move on. So basically itulah this ACS model. It's common sense, tapi kadang-kadang kita terlupa. So basically to grab their attention so that you attract them to the importance ke, to the fun ke of your course ke, apa benda ke. Dan lepas tu it has to be relevant to them. So macam Shima, you were saying that you talked about the statistics, you talked about maybe you gave the case study of the student getting the job from Alliance, you know. So gitu-gitulah. And then after that, the confidence as the lesson progresses. So that means you give them feedback, you give them opportunities to practice, you know, ataupun you give them ideas on how to practice their German, you know, semua tu. And then lepas tu satisfaction. Satisfaction is, you know, when they feel, okay, I think I can do this. Oh yeah, you know, I managed to learn this. I managed to get this far. I managed to get what I want. So then they're satisfied. So tadi siapa tadi? Dr. What? I couldn't.
Dr. Kas. Dr. Kas.
Kas. You also said something about, you know, satisfaction, you know. Yeah. I mean, I think we know lah whether they're satisfied or not. And I think we also know whether they're confident. Relevance kita punya, we have to be in control of that. What would make it relevant? What are relevant examples? What are relevant stories? What are relevant information, yeah, to them? Something that they can relate to, definitely. Something that would be of interest to them, yeah. And then attention to itu lagi, how to make your course interesting ataupun your topic interesting so that they pay attention. Apa-apa lah, all those things lah. All right, so we go on. So that's if we need help, then this one lah, attention, relevance, confidence, satisfaction, and these are just what you call this guidelines lah for all these things. Okay. So you have this first column, lepas tu apa dia punya definition dia, maksud dia, and then some of the questions that we ask ourselves. All right. So if you Google ARCS model, you will find a lot more resources, yeah, to help you understand or to help you apply. Okay, this is one of the templates that I found. If we wanted to plan a lesson. And so let's say lah kita nak buat online tutorial. Kadang-kadang online tutorial ni yang susah kan. We don't know there's one lecturer who told me, oh, the students just park themselves there and possibly disappear during your online session. So what can we do? So we can use this template. So what do we do for attention, relevance, and all that? At the beginning, what do we do? During the lesson, what do we do? At the end, what do we do? And throughout, what do we do? So if you think this is relevant, you can try to use this template. Not every cell has to be filled up. Maybe this is one example. I did an exercise with a lecturer of a master's course, and this was educational admin. Yeah, educational administration, master's program. So this is what she came up with. Within, I think I gave a session of about maybe 20-25 minutes for them to plan. So just take a look. I didn't put the learning outcome here, but when I asked, yeah, this is related to educational admin. Yeah? So this is about strategic planning. Yeah? Strategic planning. Okay, you get some idea, and actually this is just an exercise. You get started in terms of understanding how to apply the ARCS model. Tapi after a while, once you get used to it, yeah, you understand it, then you don't really have to do this template lah. But just to get started, kalau nak fahamkan apa dia ARCS, yeah. All right. Okay, so this next. It's another model. Okay, so when we try to implement our curriculum, when we try to deliver our curriculum, if we go into, and the COI model has worked for me, because in ODL institutions, we need to teach online. We don't meet them at all, 100% online. Sorry, this is about a program. It's called the Masters of Instructional Design and Technology that we started at OUM in 2009. Jadi our students are all from they're all some Malaysians, maybe about 20% Malaysians, and 80% would be from outside, yeah, from overseas. And we don't meet them. So how do we do? Yeah, I mean, we have to have forums, because forums, I think we gave 20% of the marks, yeah, for forums. So how do we get them to be active in forums, and how do we make sure that they're learning something from forums? So if you're teaching a master's program, maybe you want to consider this. For undergrad, I think it's less useful. Maybe final year courses, maybe project management, maybe some capstone courses. Tapi kalau tidak, mungkin you run the risk of not having enough interest from the students, unless you are good with the ARCS and you get the forum to be relevant, yeah, that activity as a relevant activity for students, yeah, to participate in forums. But this COI model, if you Google, and this was like 3-4 months ago, 55 million results. Of course, a lot of them is about diagrams and all that, but there are many research articles as well, and there are also PhD dissertations on the applying of the COI model. Ada juga yang modify sikit by adding emotional presence. Yeah, but I'm just going to do with the 3 presents, the original one, okay, that you see here. Okay, so I applied this COI model, and I found that it worked for me, yeah, because 20% of the marks are for forums. And sometimes when I give them the question or the issues to be discussed, some of them may take half a page, one whole page to write. And when they write, it's something that helps me juga, I don't have to do all the teaching. because they are the ones who bring up the issues. And then there will be discussions among, you know, the students. And I don't have that many students. Kadang-kadang ada 5, 6, kadang 7, kadang yang paling ramai, I think maybe 17, yeah, at one point. But whether you have 17, and I thought when I had only like 6 or 7 students at the beginning of the semester, I already thought, alamak, macam mana ni, ya? Only 7 students. Is the forum going to be active? But you know what? That forum was very active compared to students yang 17 orang tu, ada yang diam. So of course they don't get very good marks for that because I have rubrics, yeah, and I share the rubrics with them at the beginning. So the rubrics related to quantity of posting and quality of postings. Quantity ni bukan just the amount, the number of postings, but the amount in terms of whether they're regular or not regular, yeah? It's not just the total number. So anyway, with the rubric, so, and then with the kind of, you know, considering all these 3 types of presence, yeah? Talk about teaching presence. We're not there online, yeah? And we're not there synchronously, yeah? Tapi how do we make our teaching presence felt, yeah? As a teacher. Lepas tu we have the cognitive presence. Okay, and then the social presence. What are these? What are each of these? Okay, teaching presence is that when the students feel that we are there as a teacher, walaupun kita tak ada bersama dia orang, ya, synchronously, but they feel our presence, ya, that we are actually teaching them things, ya. And then lepas tu cognitive presence is when whatever we ask them to discuss or do online, it is something that is matching the level of intellectual capability, you know, whatever. So that cognitive presence too is challenging enough, tapi not too difficult and not too easy. Jadi they can do it, yeah. They enjoy, yeah. And then the social presence is when, you know, we make them feel that it is a safe environment. Nobody will put them down, you know, put their, you know, whatever their postings, their sharing, their opinion, you know, their perceptions which they share. Nobody will comment on them negatively. So semuanya kena constructive, and of course you have to establish the rules lah, yeah, before they start. So if we can have all these 3 types of presences, so then that learning, yeah, the big intersection there, the learning will happen. So here social presence and teaching presence is setting the climate. The social presence and cognitive presence is supporting the discourse. And then the teaching presence and cognitive presence is the content that we get them to be get them to interact with, yeah. So in my case, I usually ask for issues, I ask for applications, examples, you know, of the theories or the principles that they learned, you know, anything related to your course, and of course the learning outcome. Okay, so learning will happen. This is online, yeah, only forums. Maybe some of you want to share, yeah? If you've got active forums, what did you do? If you didn't use this model, what did you do to make them active? Anyone? Since you had 58 programs, yeah, of postgraduate, so what did you do? Do you use forums seriously? Do you give them marks for participation in forums?
Ya, Prof, ada.
Ada kan?
Kita ada buat, especially untuk tutorial, kita buat macam debate lah. Kita buat debate, pecahkan pelajar kepada kumpulan, penyokong, pembangkang. So, and then every week kita tukar-tukar. So we do that. So kalau dia hadir, dapatlah kot 1 markah. Kalau dia buka mulut, dapatlah 2 markah. Kalau dia aktif, dapat 3 markah. So purely on participation and also active participation and also the cognitive part lah kan.
Yes, yes. Okay. So that was not forum, that was more of like Zoom lah, yeah? Synchronous sessions lah. Alright. So
now lah, tak boleh nak buat apa lah. Tapi kalau masa face to face dulu memang kita buat macam forum session lah. Okay. I also have another course yang I tengok yang 14 minggu tu punya kuliah tu. So I took out about 5 topics ataupun I pilih topik yang very important saja, yang the concepts, the new things that they need to learn. Yang itu I maintain. So the other 5 topics yang rasa okay, yang ini bit general, student boleh cari sendiri and they can become the teachers as well. So what I did was I asked them to organize webinars. Right. So I trained them how to use Zoom. Memang I go through dia punya process of organizing the webinar itself.
Yep.
But they choose topic. I bagi main broad topic, tapi the actual discussion topic tu dia orang yang pilih. Tapi kita guide lah macam whether dia sesuai ke tidak kan.
Yes.
And then they choose whoever they want to listen to. So they choose lah, dia nak dengar daripada wartawan ke, dia nak dengar daripada orang MC ke, because my courses are related to media kan, media and communication.
Okay.
So they choose people from mana-mana lah dia nak panggil. Jadi kalau talking about hak cipta, they call people from my IPO kan, my IPO punya pengarah. So they use that lah. So and then after the webinar, so kita ada 2 rehearsal, and then we had the webinar, and then we had a postmortem. So dalam postmortem tu the trainers itself ada bagi markah. Dan daripada webinar tu ada marks from the speakers itself, and speakers bagi feedback pada diorang apa yang they should improve next time apa semua. And after the speakers left, and I did a postmortem with them. So dekat situ diorang boleh sebut lah apa yang diorang, what they have done right and they feel good about, and what they could have improved the next time. And I also have a 360 evaluation among them lah. So dalam group member tu, kalau siapa yang buat kerja tak berapa menyumbang, they probably get a lower marks from their own friends. So that's something I did for my class.
Okay, very good. Yeah, Dr. Wanabisa. All right. What do you teach again? Media, communications.
So I undang-undang media, Prof. So it's a very
wow, very boring.
Very dry. So, but it's very important that.
Sure. So by application lah mostly kan, case studies apa semua tu kan. Alright. Okay, thank you for sharing. So jadi itulah, the creativity too is very important lah, you know. This is just a model. If you were to have asynchronous forums, I mean, this is a very good model to implement lah basically. Then Dr. Wanamiza also shared something about so it's more like an intellectual discourse lah itu kan. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
betul.
on issues and all that, which is also very important, related to the, I mean, very real world kind of thing. Biasanya kalau very real world ni yang very attractive lah to students. They want it to be relevant to them, something that's important, that will help them.
The night before tu memang tak tidur malam lah, berdebar.
Really?
So memang attention.
Okay, that's good. All right, so okay, you all should in fact write stories lah, you write a book of chapters on best practices lah, for remote teaching ke, online courses ke, I mean, this will be good actually. And it doesn't have to be published kan, you just write your stories and publish it online, it will be good for everybody. Okay, let me go on to authentic assessments or real world assessments, or kadang-kadang they call it alternative assessments. So basically, I mean, I'm sure you know what it is lah. But let me just, kalau for some of you yang tak pernah cuba, maybe I just want to impress on you so that you'll try. Because I think this authentic assessment ni, walaupun dia ambil masa at the very beginning to try and create one, but you'll find that the students will be motivated to do it. This is based on because I conducted a workshop with one group of lecturers. Some of them have done the authentic assessments, and they said their students really enjoy it. And then when they get the students' assignments, they also enjoy it because it's something interesting that the students have done, that they think the students would not have been able to do. Tapi, good results come, from this authentic assessment punya assignment. All right. So, so let me just share with you, just in case some of you would like to try this, if you have not. Basically, it's about purposeful, making it purposeful. These assessments to make it purposeful, and after that, we could check on their competency. We could check whether they have met the standards, and maybe the standards is what we, as well as the competency, what we specify in terms of the learning outcome. So let's see some examples. Actually, I may have too much on authentic assessment, trying to impress on you. But let's see what happens. Okay, these are just 4 examples of books on authentic learning, ataupun on authentic performance tasks and projects. So basically, this is a keyword here. When we do authentic assessments, we are actually checking for their performance on, we are actually checking their performance ataupun on what they produce. Yeah, maybe we have projects that will help them produce things. So those are the things. And then authentic assessment, and I strongly believe that this actually works. Yeah, to provide opportunities for deeper learning. It's a tool to engage students in meaning making. Yeah, and this is just a how-to book lah. Kalau minat, you can start with this maybe, and after that you can read some other books. But you know, just the internet alone, you can come up with websites. I mean, you can come across websites and all that will teach or talk about what authentic assessments are, how to design them. You know, the what, the why, you know, the where, the when, and all that lah. Yeah, the how semua tu. So what are authentic tasks? It's when we ask them to construct their own responses. Jadi no answer should be the same. Jadi usually it's group work, pair ataupun in threes ke, in foursome ke, depending on how many students you have lah. Kalau in ODL, it could be, you know, if one class has 70 students ke, then of course it will be group work. And then ataupun to do tasks that replicate challenges faced in the real world. So it's to construct their own responses or to do tasks that replicate challenges in the real world. Okay, so that is what authentic task is. And then it is also when, okay, the real world problem to solve. And when they solve this, they learn the process of developing a solution. And at the same time, the teachers facilitating the process. And then the students' solutions to the problem demonstrate how well the students can meaningfully apply the concept. So that's why the deeper learning too. And also we make it more fun for them. So traditional versus authentic. Okay. The one here are the authentic, and the one here our traditional. So I think there's nothing wrong with continuing to provide the traditional assessments, tapi mainly for us to check, do a quick check on how much they've understood. So kadang-kadang we can have our quizzes, yeah. Lepas tu maybe kalau maybe language, maybe fill in the blanks, maybe writing short essays, ataupun kalau some of the other courses like psychology, maybe case studies, maybe some essays could be, you know, and all this. And lepas tu, tapi kalau you want to do performance assessment ataupun they say informal, so this could be the more of the authentic ones lah. Yeah. Okay, let me just go on. These are some more examples. So kalau nak buat HOTS, authentic assessment. Okay. Then the types of authentic tasks. So either for the student to produce a product based on knowledge and skills, ataupun to construct a performance that reveals their knowledge and skills. Okay. So it's product or performance. And products, example there. So you have in architecture, maybe floor plans, in music compositions, photography, maybe photo compositions, marketing ataupun advertising, design and experiment, design and advertisement, in the lab ataupun psychology, design and experiment, surveys, macam-macam. So do you think any of this will work for you? For your courses? Linguistic boleh, psychology boleh, sejarah pun boleh kan? What else you were teaching just now? Sociology ada? Okay. There's film analysis kalau media ataupun whatever analysis here. Okay. All right, next one. Statistical use. The simpler ones inilah poster, collage, pamphlet, brochure, video, podcast. Okay, these are just the types. So, for example, kalau English maybe, to write a letter of complaint. So, dia punya setting ini, and then these are the instructions lah, ya, given in the assignment. So you'll take time to write, to construct authentic task. But instead of asking them to, what should your letter of complaint comprise? Just get them to write it, instead of talking about the characteristics of a letter of complaint, or the components, or the parts, or the paragraphs that you should have in a letter of complaint. Anyone do this? Ataupun are you asking about, or are you asking them to actually do? I hope this is an eye-opener for some of you, maybe not all of you. I'm sure some of you have already started using it, authentic task. Okay, this one, tadi produk, ini pun produk juga lah. And these are the rubrics. So when you get that letter tadi, so inilah kalau nak senang. Again, it takes time to construct this set of rubrics, but it's very fast kalau kita ada rubrik ni. Kita tengok surat, kita tengok rubrik, and then we can indicate already which cell. Is it a 5, or is it a 3, ataupun the word choice-nya, all that lah. Okay, don't ask me why the blanks. This is just actual examples. Kalau I tak ada blank, kalau I buat rubrik. Okay, get the idea, All right. Now we talk about performance. And then we talk about product as a task. Now performance as a task. So performance could be music, it could be analyzing the stock market, and these are just some of the performance as examples. Ini banyak music, dance, role play, talk show, book talks, debates. Somebody mentioned tadi kan, Dr. Wan.
Betul, webinar. Saya baru nak tanya, kalau webinar tu kat sinilah Prof kan?
Yes, yes, they produce a webinar on their own kan. To organize it, apa semua tu. Okay, so I guess this one can affirm what you have done as something good, valuable, ataupun maybe give you some ideas lagi lah. Okay. This is the performance task punya rubric. You see that, this one weightage semua sama lah, kalau I tak bubur lah. Tapi kalau sini, let's say, practicality, katalah 50%, then here will be lesser lah. Tapi kalau ini sama je, tak payahlah letak. Okay. Okay, don't ask me about how they come up with this also. So, different people, different, tapi ini macam equal lah, kiranya. Kalau I make it simple aja lah, 4, 3, 2, 1. I think maybe dibubur the percentage to it lah, 25%, 80%. Okay lah, lain orang lain lah rubrik dia. Okay. Alright, benefits. Kenapa? Why authentic task? Maybe a taste of the future in a new field for the students. And also better preparation for the future world of work. Then kita ada model for designing authentic tasks, a grasp model. So ada 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So kita define the problem. Okay, the goal is apa? Kita bagi dia goal dulu. Lepas tu kita define the role of the student. A goal of the problem, what they're supposed to do in the end. Apa student punya role. Kalau in the context of, let's say, coming up with a new marketing plan. So maybe the student's role is the new marketing manager. Okay, audiences apa? Maybe the board of directors ke, board of, the company ke. Dan lepas tu, context or scenario, bagilah the scenario dia. Is it about marketing of a new model of something, new TV model ke, maybe shoe ke, kasut, or whatever it is. Lepas tu, what is created and why? So, why was the shoe created, for example? Or why was the new TV display created? and why. And lepas tu dia punya standard apa. So whatever it is lah yang you want, tapi goal, role, audience, situation, the product and the standards. And then an example, math. We don't have any math, or maybe ada math courses tak in any of the faculty punya courses. Ada tak? Or maybe the math is coming from another faculty.
Ya, rasa kita tak ada maths.
So another faculty, but this is an example lah. So instead of just giving plain math problems, kita bagi authentic task. Kita ada the goal, the role, the audience apa, situation ni macam mana. And then lepas tu ini performance. Ini pun performance juga, sama je maths. So this is about minimizing cost for shipping bulk quantities of M&Ms. Yang ini about designing a shipping container. Okay, all that. Okay, so just to give you some idea, and this is about the performance of, I think, music conductor ni. Oh, you are the teacher. So teacher for, when I saw podium technique, I thought it would be a music conductor. But maybe juga lah, the music conductor playing the role of a teacher, how to play, how everyone is to play in the ensemble. Okay, next. Ni ada macam-macam scenarios and tasks. So maybe some of this you can apply. When you go online, you can find that. But I've done the research for you. So these are some of the things that you can get started with. Ni kalau apa namanya new technology, you can write a review of an Airbnb in which you recently stayed. So it could be, maybe this could be an essay, but then for English or German ke apa ke. Even this one also can Shima boleh tak?
Di mana?
Conversation for German. Describe a lost item.
Oh, boleh.
Kan?
Boleh.
Write a review of an Airbnb.
Boleh, yes.
So many of this. Describe your parent or friend.
Yes, it's not definitely boleh.
So many things. So you tak payah fikir sangat pun. Just see which one is most relevant, kan? Alright, so this more for essay writing, I think, yeah. Ataupun for conversations. Okay, so 11:30. Oh, we missed our 11:30 tadi, Shima.
Yeah.
Forgot. Alright, so macam mana sekarang?
Prof, may I know how much time you still need? Because we actually target to finish at around 12:30 macam tu.
12:30, I see. Okay. So, well, I think maybe we just continue. I can cut it short, no problem. My part 3, not as many slides.
Okay, then kita continue je lah, Prof.
12:30, yeah?
Yes, please.
All right. Okay, so now we come to the part 3, which is evaluating the implementation. Yeah, and I give this context, evaluating it in the context of student engagement. All right, so how do we know whether we've succeeded? Okay, again, I give you the same thing again. Remember these factors. So we are more concerned with here lah this time. Okay, constructive alignment for the last part, yeah. And we talk about the implement and evaluate. So kita dah implement, macam mana nak evaluate? So again, OMA ni must always remind ourselves, if we didn't have OMA in our team members, we will not reach the success that we need here to the degree that it should. And constructive alignment, I think this is what I will use, because this one, I find that not everybody has mastered OBE or has mastered or how to apply this constructive alignment. So again, we start with learning outcomes. This one kita dah specify kan in table 4, learning outcomes, and we pun specify apa dia teaching and learning activities kita. Maybe not in detail, tapi now that we have got some ideas, maybe we can put it in, tapi jangan be too specific lah, because kalau somebody else take over our course mungkin dia susah nak buat. But something that is not so traditional, something that innovative, that based on more real world, and that will have that ASK built in. Yes, so the skill tu yang ramai kita tengok tadi, the future jobs tu banyak yang memerlukan skills. So those are some of the skills that we want to put in. Activities that will generate those skills or produce those skills. And then our assessment task too, if we can go with authentic tasks, yeah, half or most of the time, that will be good. Because you'll find that as the marker, you will also enjoy it more. So again, remember that we need to produce a learning. So my focus here, kalau boleh, yeah, the constructive alignment, because it doesn't matter whether you have Sulam ke Excel ke apa-apa yang lain, constructive alignment is key. Okay. And this is something that I put together last year, but I revised it a little bit last night. So, okay, we start with OBE. OBE will be the driver, yeah, for how we want to check on our success, yeah. Then that means we must produce the evidence, kan? All right. So, so we've got kalau boleh, yeah, more pedagogically oriented rather than technology oriented. Technology-based learning, but it's driven by pedagogy. So we've got so many models to consider, like, you know, the COI model, you know, the ARCS model, you know, frameworks for motivation, kan? And then you've got PBL, you got, it could be MOOCs, it could be, what do you call this? Yang ni, the latest, apa ni? Alamak, why do I forget? The micro-credentials, yeah, the approach. It could be all 100% physical, it could be blended, it could be, you know, macam-macam. So and then we consider, okay, what is the technology that we're going to use? What kind of an environment? That's more important. Technology too, yeah, tapi what kind of environment? You know, is it for social media, for social learning, or is it for didactic teaching? You know, all that. Yeah. So the media, social media, the learning platform, which is the LMS, and the resources that we will use. Either we create our own, ataupun we adapt somebody else, ataupun kita ambil bulat-bulat, yeah, what somebody else has done. Yeah. If it's suitable, we should use it. Yeah. Especially when we have public domain, we have OER, so we'll just credit them if we need to. Okay, then basically we need to reach this level, yeah, student engagement. When there is student engagement, we've spoken about this, macam Shima was saying, the students will come, walaupun attendance not taken, they will come. And then lepas tu, they came because they're interested, yeah, and they enjoy going through, you know, the learning activities that we provide. And hopefully, when they enjoy, the word of mouth, kan, other students yang belum ambil German will come and take it again. So that means your course continues to be popular. And you know, as a teacher, it's nice to have a lot of students, kan, and to be able to make some kind of impact, yeah, on their learning of German. And hopefully, when they later on, when they need to use German, they remember us. You know, that would be the nicest reward lah that we have. Yeah? It's intrinsic reward. And of course, student engagement also, sedikit sebanyak, what is it that motivates them? We have to know. Then lepas tu, what kind of learning experience should we provide to them? And student engagement is actually about student success. Yeah, they finish the course well, they finish the semester with good GPA, and then maintain good CGPA, maybe on the dean's list, you know, that sort of thing. So that, in sum, is my learning design implementation framework. So if we want to evaluate, again, I would go with this. And these are the things, you know, we have to start out with this. Everybody has to have the open mind, the right mindset, being able to be adaptive or willing to be adaptive, and, you know, always ready for any new set of challenges, yeah, or any set of tasks. And constructive alignment is what we use, yeah, to ensure that our course is solid. So we've already specified the learning outcomes, and make sure that we specify the learning outcomes properly, using the right verbs, stating the right level of competencies or performance or knowledge, you know, and all that. And then plus two, what is it that we provide to them in terms of learning activities, what they have to read, what they have to view, what they have to do, and then plus two, assessment tasks. Sebaik-baiknya a mix of traditional and authentic, but authentic towards let's say more than 50% of the course would be nice. Okay, then of course we can consider, kalau untuk nak motivate students, consider the 4 elements here in the ARCS model. And then lepas tu, if you're doing online discussions or online learning and teaching, then there's a COI framework that you can apply. And then of course the authentic task, okay? All right. Again, just a reminder, these are the things. Okay, now learning analytics. How many of you have heard of learning analytics or have been involved using learning analytics? Ada tak? Okay, learning analytics. Okay, I didn't mention it. But learning analytics is something that, for example, Moodle or an LMS can produce. And then more important is, what do we do when we get those statistics or that we get those reports? If we can do this right, retrieving the right set of data or statistics on the behavior of the students, and then for us to be able to provide the right prompts to the students based on their performance or their behavior. So it could be sending them an email, sending them a reminder, or mentioning in WhatsApp, or just whatever, based on the learning analytics. Then we will slowly shape the students' behavior, and it will also tell us how well we have done in our course, in the conduct or implementation of our course. Okay, so let me just share what George Siemens has said. We derive our competence from forming connections, whether it is students' competence or whether it is ourselves as lecturers, as facilitators. When we are able to make the connections, so we connect, from one task to another, we connect from one topic to another, everything, there's a connection. And in the context of George Siemens, it's basically online, the online connections that we make as we explore, as the students explore for resources, they can connect from one resource to another. So if we can make the connections, then we will reach a certain level of competency. Okay. In the near future, in fact, all of this we've already seen. AI, IoT, blockchain, cloud, big data. Okay. Now we won't be able to achieve any of this if we don't have this OMA framework already built in, in ourselves. So basically that, and then final thoughts. Okay, so it's timely, Shima, it's almost 12:30. What are your final thoughts, and what could our closing remarks be if you were the facilitator of this webinar? What is the takeaway? What is your takeaway after these 2 hours? 3 hours. 3 hours,
Yeah, 3 hours, almost 3 hours, correct.
Yes. Takeaway, apa dia?
Kalau saya lah, curriculum design is a lengthy process. Prof, you did not rigidly taught us about curriculum design per se, but the elements of it, kita tak boleh lah cakap ini bahagian ni macam tak nampak that thing in your presentation just now. But I love the way you put the inputs of the curriculum design in such a subtle way, but at the end of the day kita macam yang ni macam like just now when you told us about the authentic assessment versus the traditional one. Kalau saya nak relate dengan my course, I do have traditional assessment, of course, yang yes or no, menjawab soalan comprehension, is traditional, right? But I do also have the authentic one too, yang macam I suruh diorang produce video. One of the videos that I suruh diorang produce is video masakan. But they have traditional dishes, tapi in German. So lepas tu siap suruh bubuh subtitles, because we learn about giving instruction. Kan in German. So diorang buat video masakan tu giving instruction in German tapi in Malaysian setting lah, so to say kan. So the students love it. And I love it too because dapat banyak tahu resipi baru.
Exactly. Yeah. That's why I say authentic taste macam tu lah.
So macam diorang pun macam very excited. Macam one of my Indian student hari tu dia ajak I buat rasam. So macam menarik sangat-sangat. So I feel and they do enjoy that as well. Sebab for me masa tu my task was about nak buat that one is actually an oral task and 10% of it is also writing task lah because they need to write the subtitles, right? So it's like oral plus the writing task. But I told them it's not about your creativity of the video. So please, and I do not want you to put it online and then get as much likes as possible ke apa, itu bukan tujuan. So I think the purpose of that was stated very clearly. The purpose of that kan, macam Prof cakap ada tadi mesti ada yang the earlier part of it tu macam kena state your yang ni kan. So the purpose of it was very clearly stated. So saya rasa macam I really like the way you presented the curriculum design because dia as I say it's just the inputs of it. Setelah that's my final thoughts lah, and I love your slides. Do you mind sharing your slide with us or?
Yeah, as long as not misused, no problem. I can share.
Okay. Nanti later.
I'm into instructional design, so that's my basic training.
Oh, patutlah.
Yeah. I mean, I work with media. Siapa tadi yang
Dr. Wan Hamizah tu.
Hamizah pun, you're into media kan? I'm into media too, but media for learning.
Nice. Yeah, okay. So that is that's actually my thoughts about this thing lah. All right. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for your thoughts. Is there anyone who would like to share? I mean, even if it's something, let's say something that I did not do or should do, it's good feedback for me too, Because but the thing is based on my observations of my colleagues kan, when they tried to revise the curriculum. That's what I thought. Like I think the constructive alignment is key. And then lepas tu, how do you deliver? Because I see a lot of them just do the slides, put a lot of words on the slides, and then lepas tu they just read. And students also complain. Can lecturers not put the what you call this? The what you call is it? The sentences on the slides ataupun the points, in full sentences because they tend to copy. They say,
betul.
They say that. Because they tend to copy, just kau faham balik lah because everything is there. Yalah. Alright, so anyone else? Takkan you seorang aja, Shima?
Ya, ada sesiapa lagi? Ya, Dr. Nasir?
Ya, okay, terima kasih Puan Shima. Prof, okay, actually tadi saya nampak ni lah belajar lah maksudnya Prof dah share tentang kita punya berkenaan dengan yang task tadi tu, authentic task tu. Actually kita ni sebenarnya banyak kita punya approach ataupun pendekatan kita boleh guna untuk bagi tugasan kepada pelajar ya Prof. And then kat situlah saya belajar banyak, nampak ada dia punya list yang Prof dah share tu. Mungkin lepas ni saya akan lebih explore lah bagaimana kita nak share punya task kepada student. In term of yang tadi Prof ada share berkenaan dengan satisfaction, so how kita nak jadikan pelajar ni satisfied dengan kita punya teaching. Macam saya punya, kalau saya izinkan saya boleh share pengalaman, sebab saya mengajar lebih kepada human resource management, so dia lebih kepada praktis sebenarnya. Saya lihat pelajar ni bila nampak macam saya nilai pelajar satisfied ni bila mana mereka kita berikan contoh yang di reality punya situasi. So mereka akan nampak lebih terbuka sebab macam saya punya kursus ni it's not really fundamental lah, tapi adalah juga basic fundamental tu, tapi bila mana kita share the real punya situation, contohnya dari segi how kita nak conduct the domestic inquiry, kita nak bayar pampasan, kita nak rate pengiraan cuti gaji dan sebagainya tu, pelajar akan lebih memberikan tumpuan bila mana kita share benda-benda yang reality tu Prof. So saya nampak kat situ pelajar akan lebih satisfied sebenarnya berbanding dengan kita share macam yang Prof sebut tadi, slide and then kita just explain macam tu lah.
So it's bringing the real world into the classroom, bawa dunia luar tu ke dalam bilik darjah lah they say and then lepas tu is the competencies lah for the future jobs. Competency yang kita nak create ataupun kita nak produce is a competency. To produce the learning, and the learning is about competencies. Ya, subject matter tu dia akan belajar secara automatik if they really find it relevant, useful, semua tu. Then, you know, we don't focus on the content so much. We focus on the competency. Tapi competency tu will drive the effort to get the content. Yeah, okay, alright. So ada apa-apa lagi? Maybe one more. Maybe kita dah dekat 12:30. Maybe one more person. Siapa yang tak pernah bercakap lagi hari ini?
Siapa lagi? Ada sesiapa yang nak beri final thoughts? Ada ataupun ada any suggestion yang mungkin Prof boleh guna later on?
Yeah. So okay, we got everyone from.
Tu ada seorang tadi. Dr. Wan.
Silakan.
Macam mana nak motivate lecturers, Prof? Not just the student.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's tough, ya. Macam mana nak motivate lecturers? Itulah dia. Kenapa kita ni jadi lecturer sebenarnya? Why are we a lecturer? For me, I wanted to come to the university. Yeah, I wanted, and I applied. Actually, I applied UKM. Tapi dia bagi tahu I applied UKM. Bila UKM was quiet, then I applied UM. And then lepas tu UM offered me the job, so I took it. And then lepas tu bila dekan UKM datang, dia kata, alamak, kita ni selalu lambat, you know. So I could have been in UKM if UKM was fast enough, but you know, the fact that I wanted to be a lecturer, yeah. And so when I became a lecturer, it was all systems go lah, you know. I told myself, masuk aja lecturer. I said, okay, 5 years, I will be associate professor, and I just did whatever it took. It doesn't matter lah, dia punya kriteria, yang kata shifting kriteria lah, apa ke, it doesn't matter. You just do what it takes to make sure that nobody can deny. Itu je. So if you're really into this, being an academic, make sure you're an academic. Otherwise, don't be an academic. Otherwise, suffer gitu kan. Just like any job lah. We take a job, but we don't really like it, so then we try to get out of it. Tapi of course, being an academician now is quite rewarding, more rewarding than when I started. Gaji pun saya rasa is very good. Opportunity to become a professor is good. Masuk jurusan C ke B ke A, you know, if we start early enough and we focus and we work with our students. Yeah, I mean we are good teacher, and then lepas tu we can go into SOTL. Not only our own area of subject matter expertise, but do that SOTL. Jadi kita cepat sikit, I think lah, you know, to me. Cepat sikit kalau kita nak publish ke apa-apa. And lepas tu just be everywhere. Conferences, for example, go overseas, not just not national. Even if you have to pay, just go, you know. And I did that. But because I went overseas, then I became established. You know, people know me. I keep going to the same conference. You meet the same professors in your field. Dan lama-lama jadi kawan. Or kalau tak jadi kawan baik pun, at least they know me. You know, like for example, Judge Simmons. He knew me maybe 2008, yeah, when we first met, yeah, at a conference. And then lepas tu, then he invited me to give a MOOC course in 2010 or 2011. And then lepas tu, we didn't meet online again, or anywhere for that matter, until last year. And he still remembered me, you know. So that's what we have to be like as an academicians, not only for our students, but for ourselves, for our field, and of course, nationally and internationally. So, macam mana nak motivate? I cannot say. Except that, you know, when you come in as an academician, just do some reflection. Do you really want to be an academician? If you do, then do what it takes. If you don't, then better to be somewhere else lah. Which is unfortunate juga sekarang the job market is not very good, yeah. I had so many PhDs applying, yeah, for a lecturer job dekat USM. And there's no vacancy. So the job market has changed. Okay, anything else? I hope my answer helps.
InsyaAllah. So basically motivation tu ada
Comes from
intrinsic
inside.
intrinsic
Yes,
motivation
it comes
lah
from
ya Prof.
inside of us.
And beside that extrinsic ni with good pay and then a good career prospect tu sikit-sikit membantu jugalah. So tu tapi kalau tak ada intrinsic tu memang tak boleh buat apa-apa lah Prof.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, just if we can be grateful, and then lepas tu nak halalkan pendapatan, what do we do? Kan?
Correct.
That's how I think lah. Okay.
Alhamdulillah, I think it's a very good closing remark from you lah Prof. Thank you so much. Saya rasa satu webinar yang pada saya sendiri satu webinar yang sangat bermanfaat. Dapat banyak ilmu yang bermanfaat pada hari ini. Terima kasih banyak-banyak saya ucapkan kepada yang berbahagia Prof Zoraini. And I wish you, insyaAllah we all wish you the best in your newly endeavour kan. Baru kan Prof jadi adjunct dekat Asia University ni kan. Selepas bersara di USM insyaAllah. So we wish you all the best dan mengucapkan ribuan terima kasih di atas kesudian Prof meluangkan masa bersama kami, mencurahkan ilmu dan juga pengalaman Prof selama bertahun-tahun menjadi seorang pensyarah. Terima kasih dan saya juga ingin mengucapkan ribuan terima kasih kepada semua yang setia bersama kami di webinar ini sehingga ke akhir. Terima kasih banyak-banyak dan juga kepada yang ramai-ramai yang banyak engage dengan webinar ni juga kami ingin ucapkan ribuan terima kasih. We really appreciate it. InsyaAllah kita akan jumpa lagi di webinar-webinar yang akan datang. Saya ucap InsyaAllah nanti juga saya akan sharekan Prof punya slides yang cantik dan saya rasa inilah slides yang betul-betul menunjukkan sikit words, very very nice slides. Betul tak? So and very engaging lah. Terima kasih banyak Prof ya, dan terima kasih juga kepada semua yang hadir. Salam, kita tutup dengan tasbih kifarah dan juga surah Wal-As. Okay, so let's have our lunch. Okay, terima kasih banyak